Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Power Hour. I'm Jordan, as always. Over to my left is Luke, and today we have a very special one because this is our AEW All Out Review Power Hour episode. And there's a lot to talk about. You would be forgiven for thinking that the biggest, most important thing in this pay-per-view is CM Punk's match. The first match in 7 years, because that is an incredibly big and important moment. However, there are some really interesting things that happened. So I think we should get on with it, Luke, and start breaking this thing down.
We absolutely should. I watched the buy-in.
So did I.
For the first time ever. I'm glad I did, because even though it felt quite put together at the last minute, the 10-man tag match was really fun.
Yes, yeah.
Very, very good. There's a lot of really cool spots, specifically with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, where he did that sick fucking like flip. It's like a Spanish fly, but not Spanish fly, because he's got him in the throwaway position off the top of Luchasaurus. That was dope. Very, very fun match for the pre-show. I'm still kind of iffy on pre-shows. I get what they're for, but they feel a bit pointless to me, because they never put anything of not of substance, but nothing that's super important that you need to see on the pre-show sort of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like the match that you can miss if you're not, if you're running a bit late or whatever.
I mean, I forget about them generally.
Do you?
I generally forget there's a pre-show.
Fair. I mean, I will watch pre-shows if it's a match that I'm interested in, but I never sort of go out my way to go, yeah, I'm going to take this hour to watch the pre-show. Often I'll do something else and and then I'll tune in once the main show starts. However, because I did like, I'm quite a fan of some of the wrestlers that we had in the ring here for this tag match, and we obviously did also get a return here.
Oh, yes.
Which made it worth it. It did actually make it worth it, because it felt like something that was like, okay, that was actually a cool moment that makes it just not your standard pre-show.
So Jurassic Express and Best Friends won in the end. Or not Orange Cassidy, sorry. Jungle Boy had Angelico in the snare trap and he tapped out.
Yes.
I knew something was going to happen because they lingered for quite a while in the ring
and because Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus left, right? But Orange Cassidy stayed there.
It was more just because he lingered in the ring for so long.
Yeah.
It was less that some people had left. It was just more that it took so long. And then, there was a bit of a beatdown, and the Butcher returned, and I love the Butcher. He's great. They were trying to cut Orange Cassidy's hair, which was a thing. I wonder if this leads to a hair versus hair, which would probably be Matt Hardy losing his hair, or who knows? Who cares? Don't really want this feud to keep going, but hey ho.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I'm with you, but I have started to slightly turn on this feud a little bit, where I feel like if it was just Matt Hardy and Orange Cassidy, I'd actually be into it way more.
I think it's just boring because they've never won. It's always the baby faces.
Yeah, true.
Every single time this happens, the baby faces win.
True.
Best friends win. So I have no investment in this at all, other than I really like Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, actually.
A really fun match for the kickoff. And then to start the show proper, we had a blockbuster.
Yes.
We had Eddie Kingston versus Miro. This was awesome. They told a very, very good story. Yeah. Miro is god tier. Miro is absolutely god tier.
So, spoiler: Miro did retain here.
I mean, it's not spoiler, but
however, there was a moment in this match where I was like, is Kingston actually going to win? Are they actually going to, because they played it so well and told the story throughout the match in a way that made it feel like Kingston was going to win.
So Kingston knew what he needed to do. He knew he needed to attack the neck, hit him with DDT and stuff like that. Yeah. He did. He hit him with that back fist. He hit him with a DDT, and he had him down for the pin. but the referee was busy dealing with that ring, the exposed turnbuckle,
Yes.
before he turned around, started the pinfall.
About 2 seconds after.
Miro kicks out.
Mhm.
But it's clever because it all made like,
Because it plants
it's a theme
that
through the
seed that
night.
Kingston can win.
No.
Right?
It's not even that. It's not even that. It's a theme that we've had through the entire night, where these referee mistakes
Mhm.
are mistakes, but they're there for a reason. They're not just
They're not the stupid
stupid.
mistakes, right?
Yeah,
they play
exactly.
into something.
Like there's a reason, there's a logical reason behind it, and they go out of the way to do it. Like the turnbuckle got ripped off with Miro. I think he was going for like a German or something like that, and Rusev like held on to the buckle.
Mhm.
So the referee was busy trying to sort that out. He didn't see the pin, and he turned around, and it was just like,
Yes.
yeah, happened. However, comes into play again because Kingston then tries to run Miro into the turnbuckle, and the referee gets in the way. He's like, no, can't do that. Stop it. So he's trying to argue with Kingston and with Miro at the same time. Miro hits him with a low blow, hits him with that delicious pump kick that he does, picks up the win. This is the first time that Miro's looked genuinely vulnerable. This is the first time Miro's had to genuinely cheat to win in this kind of fashion.
For sure. Yeah.
I think this means that Kingston's beating him in New York.
I agree. And I did say to you before the pay-per-view that I feel like Kingston is someone who'd get that belt eventually.
Yeah.
So I think they played this incredibly well. I think it does mean that Kingston's probably getting that belt a lot sooner than maybe we would expect, i.e., New York in like 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think that's sooner than I expect, because I think that makes sense because he's from New York.
Yeah, that's true.
That's his territory.
That's true.
So I don't think it's sooner than we expect. I think it's right when we expect it, because I don't think anyone expected him to win at All Out.
That's true.
Even though the match went on.
But yeah, the way that they played this story, though, I think they did the right things for each wrestler, right? They had Miro have that moment where he finally had to cheat to win, which keeps him as a heel, and
like his facials through the match were fantastic. When Kingston got out of the game over, when he got to the ropes, great, great. Because he didn't have enough time to actually pull it back, and he just got.
And then you have the thing that this entire match also planted the seed that Kingston can actually beat Miro. Like, he's good enough to beat Miro.
Yeah.
And I just think it was really well done. And
I mean, another thing is, like, generally when you have an unbeaten run with a monster like Miro, it tends to need to be quite of a short thing, because you keep running out of things you could do.
Yeah.
But every match that Miro has had,
they freshen it up in some way, right?
There's always a new angle, and it's so clever. And the way that Miro's found a weakness and he's going after it does make me think that it's coming to an end. But then imagine his promos after failing his god, after failing his hot wife. It's gonna be so sick. It's gonna be so sick. And I can't wait to see what I hope Kingston gets his version of the TNT title, because I want to see what that looks like.
Oh, that would be cool.
That'd be sick. Cool. And I really hope, I've said it for a while, I really think this title should be defended every single Rampage.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think it should, or like have an open challenge every week. It doesn't necessarily have to just be on Rampage, but an open challenge every week sort of thing
for sure
would be sick, because then we can see that would be another way of doing all the cross promotion stuff. That would be some way that we have Buddy Matthews.
We'll get some more into cross promotion stuff a little bit later.
Absolutely. This was fantastic. It was such a good way to start. And I can't wait to see more. And for everybody, for anybody who watched this match, Bryce Remsburg, the referee, he is the guy that did that the match between the two invisible wrestlers.
Yeah.
So like, he's great at storytelling as well. So it was great for all round.
Also, I want to just say, this first match kind of compounds to me what I would say to literally any wrestling fan right now. And I've actually said it to a couple of wrestling fans over the last few days of, if you are not watching AEW
Yeah.
and you are a wrestling fan, you really are missing out on
I agree.
what the majority would consider by far the best product
Well,
right
I
now.
saw I can't remember who it was, but they were like it was like a gaming reporter.
Jeff Grubb,
No, it wasn't Jeff. It was someone else.
because I know he was watching it.
No, I saw that, but they put a poll out asking what they should watch because they were pretty casual and they were like trying to get back into it, I think.
Ah, right, okay.
And it was like 90% AEW
Yeah.
to 10%.
So my thing is, what I'd recommend to people is, look, if you have any sort of interest in wrestling, even if you're a casual fan, this is one of those pay-per-views that you should be watching. And we'll get into more why later on, but I do think even this first match between Miro and Eddie Kingston is a good barometer of, if you watch this match and you kind of enjoy it, there's a lot more other stuff that you're going to enjoy in this pay-per-view. So
next up we had Jon Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima.
I enjoyed this.
I did as well. It was a really interesting match. It was a cool mix of styles.
Yeah.
I like
Kojima's really good.
He looks incredible for 50 plus. Like,
yeah, because he's been in the industry for 30 years, right?
Yeah. This was a fun match. I don't think it was phenomenal or all that great. I think it was just a fun match. Moxley did end up winning because he kept dodging they kept putting over the lariat.
Yes, he
just kept dodging it.
Kojima was trying to hit the right arm lariat, I believe, because he hit him with the other arm,
but that's not his strong arm. Apparently, like if they were putting over, if he hits you with that right arm lariat, you're done.
Yeah,
and he just kept.
I really hope that this isn't the last that we see of Kojima either, because I actually quite enjoyed this match, and I think there is, there could be some other interesting matches they could use with him.
Maybe, but I really think most of this is for the Moxley angle.
Of course. For
now, I feel like there will be more down the line. But what I really hope is this somehow leads. Yeah, hopefully he gets his match against Tanahashi that he wants.
Yeah.
But I really hope this actually leads to Will Ospreay.
Of course you do.
No. This is more than just my standing of Will Ospreay at the moment. Will Ospreay cut a promo when he returned, and he called Jon Moxley a bitch. He was just like, I don't give a shit about that bitch Jon Moxley or those fuckers in AEW. Fuck them. What are you gonna do? It feels like that's maybe setting something up. Because it also just feels like Moxie's story at the minute is just versus New Japan.
I mean, speaking of setting stuff up, let's talk about what happened after this match.
That was exactly what I was about to do. So Mox again lingering. He's doing this. Well, it didn't linger too long. This was this was maybe like 20 seconds after the win.
Yeah, this was like good timing, right? Because it was kind of like he did the respect moment with Kojima where he did the little bow and all that sort of stuff.
Even though that was hugely antagonistic of him, because it was like a really sarcastic "fuck you" sort of thing.
For sure,
which I love. But then some music plays, and everyone's like, "Who's that?" There's some rain. The King, Eddie Kingston, is he coming back out? Oh no.
When people realize they lost their minds, though.
I fucking popped for this. I fully popped for it.
Yeah, this
on the screen.
Sick.
Minoru Suzuki, I fucking lost it. I was like, fucking no. Wednesday.
Yeah, match happening.
We're getting it on
Wednesday.
Wednesday. It's not, it's not your pay-per-view down the line. They're not teasing it. They're like, now we're fucking fighting. Best bit is this wasn't purely set up.
No,
he came down to the ring, people chanted, and like he looked so happy. He looked like a kid in the candy shop. But like when they were singing along to that specific bit in his theme, he loved it. And then in the ring, they're smiling at each other. They're like, yeah, we're gonna fucking
forearms.
And then it's a setup. It's set up, and then they actually just start kicking the shit out of each other, and it's great. And then Suzuki chokes out Moxley, drops him on his head.
Yeah, great.
Fantastic.
And this, the thing is, we'll get into it when we do our kind of overview at the end. But this was one of the major moments in this pay-per-view that kind of made it feel like, okay, this is a special thing, because this was a moment that you wouldn't see anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
Not in this manner, not done in
No.
this way.
No.
And
I mean, you wouldn't see it in WWE,
yeah,
is what we mean. You'd see it in Impact. We've seen it in Impact.
yeah.
But yeah.
And you know, I feel like people who aren't even fans of Japanese wrestling, like people who are wrestling fans in general,
My brother
know who Suzuki is to some degree.
Yeah,
They've
my
heard
brother
his name or whatever.
Yeah, my brother knows of him, but he's never seen him wrestle or anything like that. I'm just like, he's a fucking killer.
He's
like,
a madman. He is a madman.
They call him like Grandpa Killer or whatever it is.
I can't wait for
awesome.
this match. I can't wait for this match on Wednesday.
Same.
You know, I think it is
his hometown as well.
It is a you must tune in for this match kind of match.
I mean,
So yeah,
100%.
very well done moment. Very good match before it. You know, I know that the Moxley and Kojima match was the one we were most unsure on because neither of us knew much about Kojima.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, I get why Kojima's a legend after this match, because the fact that he's that age and is still that good says to me that,
I mean, there's something in the water over there, because Suzuki's no spring chicken either.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they've got a fair few people of that kind of age group that are still, like, Liger has only just retired.
Yeah.
Like, there's something in the water over there. Like, the wrestlers over there are just
they're all great.
Next up, we had the AEW Women's Championship. Chris Statlander, who I'm a big fan of, versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, who I'm a big fan of. I was not a big fan of this match.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. A lot of it was because they're using Britt Baker wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
She should be face. Like, she's not getting booed in the slightest. It's just not working. But
then you can have heels who get cheered. Like, we have seen that before.
Yeah, but we're beyond that point.
Okay, interesting.
This is at the CM Punk Chicago moment sort of thing.
True.
True. Money in the Bank sort of thing. She's not the heel anymore. She just isn't. Like, people like her too much. She shouldn't be a heel anymore, I don't think.
However, she might be very soon. But we'll get to that later on.
Yeah, I still don't think she's going to be. I just don't think she's being used in the right way at the minute. I think she's phenomenal. I also, like I said, really like Chris Statlander as well. But again, it was one of those matches. I never thought Chris Statlander was going to win.
Do you think?
Not in a million years.
So that's kind of my thing. That's what I was going to ask you. Is it more about the match, as in the quality of the match itself, or is it more about the fact that it's like this is a match that
it just wasn't believable?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really care about the angle because it's very muddled, because she was, Britt Baker was face against Nyla. She was a face against, obviously, in her hometown against Red Velvet. And then we're kind of sick.
And then all of a sudden back to heel again, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think it hasn't done any good for Chris Statlander either, because it's just a muddled storyline. They've really botched it a bit, I think. However, Orange Cassidy got fucking into it.
Yes, he did.
He was not chill. Which for the briefest second made my brother go, maybe she wins it, because it'd be a shame.
Because they're making a big moment with Cassidy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But no, she didn't. Baker won. It was like, the match itself was good.
Yeah.
The match itself was good.
I know what you mean. It was one of those where it was like, it's a good match, but it's a good match that you weren't invested in. And that's kind of the problem.
It was tough to get invested in, because I never for a second thought that Statlander was going to win.
Yeah.
As much as I would have loved to.
Can you imagine your surprise if she would have, though? Because
it would have been the wrong call. It would have been the wrong
call. Really? You think so?
Yeah, it would have been the wrong call. I don't think Statlander's ready to put a division on her shoulders.
No, that's true. That's true.
Big, cool shoulders. So I love her to bits. The bit where, like, Britt's doing the DMD thing and then she catches it and makes her boop herself.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I giggled. I thought that was fantastic. It's a weird one as well, because
so what I'd say is I'm with you. I wasn't fully invested because of the because of the muddled build and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I wasn't fully invested, but I still enjoyed the match.
Yeah.
It was still
Yeah.
enjoyable enough. It wasn't a bad match. These are
Uh-huh.
two great wrestlers in the ring,
And-
and what was actually in the ring was good.
Yeah.
But the stuff around it maybe took away from it a bit.
Absolutely. And it's just, again, it's the wrong people at the wrong time. And it felt more like Statlander was there because who else could it possibly be?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
They don't, Thunder Rose has only just come in, so it's maybe a bit too early to do that.
Yeah. And doing Nyla again wouldn't have really made sense.
Yeah.
So.
Next up, steel cage match for the AEW Tag Team Championship.
I have a lot to say about this.
Lucha
match.
Bros versus Young Bucks, and this is the best match of this year.
I would go further than that. I'm full of fucking praise for this match. In my opinion, this is top 5 tag team matches of all time.
Definitely up there. This was fucking incredible.
Like, if you watch one match from AEW, if you've never watched it before, this is the match you should be watching.
This is exactly. I'm not like it's one of those you cannot sum it up because there are too many incredible spots. There was too many incredible storytelling bits.
Yeah. And there were, from what I remember, there were also no mistakes, which in a match like this is.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
Phoenix is very rarely makes a mistake. Like
I'm not surprised, of course, but in a match like this, there is a part of you where you kind of think, okay, there are more things that could go wrong.
The only one that I thought would have been detrimental had it gone wrong was Thingy throwing the package in.
Oh yeah,
I was fully expecting, but then I think it would have also played into his character. If
that was a great throw, though.
It was. He caught it as well. It was great. We're going to tell you the ending of this match, but go and watch this match because it is one of the best.
Yeah,
matches
we
in the
are
last
going
5
to
years.
spoil it. So if you don't want it spoiled, maybe skip ahead like
I honestly think
a minute.
I honestly think this is better than the Bucks versus Hangman and Omega.
I agree.
I think this is the best tag team match.
So I think this is where I would put this tag match. I would honestly put it up there with those TLC tag team matches that everybody knows from WWE in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
This is on that kind of level.
Yeah.
And potentially even surpasses those matches in some ways.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait for the rest of the year because what the fuck is going to top it? Because that's incredible. Yeah. Spoilers, I was right. The Lucha Bros got their win, and it was fucking delightful.
Yeah.
It was so heartfelt. They were trying to get Penta out of the ring to go up and celebrate on the stage, but he was just ignoring them, and he was trying to get his kids to come in, and they all hugged, and it was so heartwarming. It was great. Such a good match.
And it was, it's one of those things where, like, I was split on this match, as you know, from our predictions. I wasn't sure. I wanted the Lucha Bros to win, but there was always a part of me that goes, did the Young Bucks keep it somehow?
So I was certain that Lucha Bros were going to win until a couple of the pinfalls really late on. I was like, oh no, they've lost. And then he kicked out, and I lost.
Yeah.
I was.
There was a moment where Phoenix broke up one of the pins, like right on the last second.
Yeah, literally. If he was a centimeter behind, would have been a 3 count.
I lost my shit when that happened.
This was incredible.
Just to kind of again emphasize how good this pay-per-view is. I've watched the entire pay-per-view 3 times already.
I have not. I've watched it once, and I've been sat just thinking about it. This is genuinely,
and this match,
a phenomenal match. Like I said, if you only watch one thing,
the thing about this match as well is it's not just a spot fest, right? Because all of the spots make sense.
No, there were spots. There was a lot of storytelling. There was a lot of slower, grind down moments. It was fun. It was damn near perfect.
Yeah.
Damn near perfect. On the other hand, we had the Casino Battle Royal, and this was a fucking mess. This was bad.
Yeah.
This was bad. It's one.
It had some bright moments, I think, but
near the end, yes.
Yeah.
The concept is just shit. It's such a bad concept.
It should just be like a rumble, right?
I'm gonna fix it. I think I've decided I'm gonna do a video to fix it. I've already said about how I would do it, but I'm gonna properly do it.
Okay.
I want to make that video on how to fix this, and it will be kind of a fantasy booking thing.
Nice.
Because you can kind of ape the Royal Rumble, but put enough of a twist on it that you don't ape the Royal Rumble. I have a couple of ideas how to do that.
Okay.
For those who've never seen one of these before, I think it's dumb. Instead of just having people come out one by one, you have people come out in sets of 5. So you have instead of picking a number, you pick a set of cards. You get clubs, diamonds, hearts, spades. When they call whichever set, 5 of them come down, which means you get an emphasis on the first person that comes down, and all the rest just kind of get jobber. You've just come in the ring entrances. And I honestly think this match was kind of detrimental to the women's division because it shows you how weak it is. Because out of 1, 2, 3, other than the final entry, which we'll get to, there was in the first one, you only really had Shida and the Bunny, who were all that notable. Emi Sakura, fine. Sky Blue, I had no idea who that was, but she was a hometown girl.
Yeah, so
And she got eliminated first.
So Sky Blue is someone I believe who actually had a match on Dark.
Yeah, and she earned her way in.
And she then got put into the match because of that.
Yeah, and because she's from Chicago as well.
And Tony Khan did actually say that was fully on the fly. It wasn't originally planned to be a thing. So, so that's interesting.
They completely botched that though, because she was the first person to get eliminated. That was stupid.
Yeah.
It was so dumb. They made a deal with her, and people fucking popped for her because she was hometown, and then she gets eliminated first.
Mm-hmm.
You would I would have put her in the shit, she's actually doing well section of this, but no. Yeah, Emi Sakura, fine. Abaddon, haven't seen her in a long time. Then Diamonds, you had Anna Jay, was the one along with Nyla Rose, and then Kira Hogan just didn't. You didn't even get a camera shot of Kira Hogan before she was eliminated.
Yeah, she literally went out.
Killing King, Diamante, Hearts. You then had Thunder Rosa, dope. Penelope Ford, okay. Riho, who they fucked up. She didn't actually get eliminated.
What?
She went under the bottom rope. She didn't go over the top.
Oh, wow.
Jamie Hayter was in the ring. So when she got eliminated and it got announced, Jamie Hayter was in the ring going, no, she's not actually eliminated. They fucked it.
Oh,
so technically, she's still in there.
Oh, wow.
Jamie Hayter came out a big swole. So that was probably the strongest. Well, I don't know. This next one was as well. Tay Conti, Red Velvet, Layla Hirsch, Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill was dope in this.
Yeah.
She had the Kane run. And Reba or Rebel or Rebel or whatever.
I think it is Rebel. Because they were calling her.
Well, Rebel. they just give her a stupid name, don't they?
Yeah.
They just play with her name. It's weird. I think this was awfully booked. I think it was terribly booked. I think it was sloppy as shit, and I thought that it really showed how weak the women's division is. Yeah. However, Ruby Soho got a huge pop when she came out, and she nearly burst out crying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like watching the interview, the media scrums afterwards.
Yeah,
she was so emotional because she was like, "No one's ever chanted my name."
Yeah.
And it was sick. It was great. It's fully deserved. This match got good when it came down to the final 3.
Yeah, I'd say so.
The final 3 were Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, and Ruby Soho. And then the final 2 were Ruby Soho and Thunder Rosa. And I was like, oh, that's a match I want to see.
And also, those are the 2 that we both said it would be one of them who
100%.
won it. So.
Yeah, we were like, if Ruby does turn up, it's going to be her. If not, it'd be Thunder.
Yeah.
And then we were both right. Ruby Soho picked up the win. As great as that was, this match was dreadful. It was so bad. It just showed how weak their division is.
Know that I'd go as far as dreadful, but it was definitely a weak match.
It was the worst match of the night.
Oh, you think so?
I don't think so. I know so. It was the worst match of the night.
I think there's a match that's worse than this one.
I would agree if it went a bit longer, but this was the worst match of the night.
Okay.
Absolutely was the worst match of the night. The final fight was next. We had Chris Jericho versus MJF, and we had a special entrance.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho's
this was a
WWE
nice little
countdown.
flip. Yeah.
Chris Jericho's WWE countdown. Like both me and my brother were like, oh, wait. Countdown hits 0, comes up. Chris Jericho's final match. MJF comes out.
That was brilliant.
Did you notice? Now, I changed my mind on how this match was going to end when I saw MJF come out.
Oh, really?
Did you pick up on the same thing I did?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So when he came out and took his robe off, I turned to my brother and said, what happens every time Ric Flair wears red?
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh.
So he was wearing similar gear as well. He had the MJF written in the side
he did,
script that Ric Flair does. I changed my mind the second I saw that. I was like, okay, cool. I liked this match, but I thought
the finish was weird.
The finish was weird. Sloppy. I didn't particularly like that. So there were 2 finishes. The first finish came when MJF. So hold on, actually, this really confused me because the match started. They went to the outside, fought for a bit with no count, and then Jericho hit MJF with like a bit of the guardrail.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
And then I was like, I didn't realize this was a no DQ match. But it's not.
No.
It wasn't a no DQ match.
And the match had already started, right?
Yeah. The match had already started. They got back in the ring. They went out of the ring again a bit later, and then they started getting counted out. And I was like, wait, hold on.
But that's kind of one. So I hate and I love that about AEW, and this is actually a good time to talk about it. I like the fact that they make the referees human, where they use their discretion.
No.
You don't like that?
No, I think that was bullshit.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was shit.
Because they also did that to a certain degree in, I believe it was the main event, where he wasn't counting them out, even though there were.
But he was distracted. No. But Don Callis distracted the referee in that situation.
Okay.
So that made sense. This one didn't. This was dumb. It really took me out of the match for a bit. Because it clicked when they went back outside and started doing a 10 count. I was like, wait, so it's not a. Because even my brother thought it was an ODQ because Jericho just came down with the bat ready. So we were both like, oh, I didn't realize it was an ODQ match. I thought it was just, yeah, which would have made it cooler, I think. But hey,
for sure.
So yeah, the first end came when Wardlow comes down to try and back up MJF. But then Jake
the production
Hager
fucked this up because they should have shown Hager on the camera. I
think it was fine actually because Hager kind of came out of nowhere.
That's true.
Which I kind of appreciate because I haven't seen Hager in a minute.
Because even the commentary went, "Oh, somebody's behind Wardlow," but at the time when you're watching it on TV, you had no idea what was, and then they switch.
Which I don't mind that because he came out of nowhere and then it was like, oh, it's Hager, cool. Because it also played into maybe it's someone they were teasing and he's come out,
True.
But no, it was Hager. He came out even the odds before Wardlow could get anywhere near the ring. But this distracted the referee. MJF hit Jericho with his bat, which I don't care what it's called.
It's called Floyd.
And then MJF hits Jericho with a Judas effect. 1, 2, 3. But Jericho gets his foot on the ropes. But the referee doesn't see it because she's doing her job and she's focused on the shoulder. And because the angle she's in as well, and the way MJF is let back, wouldn't see. However, and again, this is where the
other referee who was at ringside because of the Hager thing.
No, skip that. You're going ahead.
Okay.
This is where the referee stuff made sense again. Because that other referee that comes down to tell Aubrey Edwards about the error was out there already to break up the Hager.
Yeah, so they got him there by a way that made sense. So he was there already. Right?
It wasn't like he just ran out the back and then people were like, well, why don't you do that for every situation like that?
Yeah.
He was there. He was already out there. So it made sense because this all happened within 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And then the match got restarted.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
I mean, they had to.
They did, yeah, they did. But I just don't. it wasn't the best way to do it. I don't think. I
Okay.
think it was all a bit not sloppy. It just wasn't the way I would have done it. It took away from the overall match because I thought the match was great because
I agree.
There was a bit of an equalizer. Obviously, MJF was going after Jericho's arm, but there was a spot where MJF also hurt his back.
Yeah,
in a callback to Kevin Owens.
Power bombed on the side of the ring,
and he sold his back fantastic. There was a point where I was like, "Did he actually?
Is he actually hurt?
Yeah, he was selling it so fucking well." And then so in the end, Chris Jericho countered the Assault of the Earth. He got him into a Walls of Jericho. I was expecting that he was going to put him into a Lion Tamer.
I think he actually tried to at one point,
but he couldn't quite get it. So he just sat real deep on the Walls of Jericho, and Jericho got the win.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
I am, but I'm not a huge fan of the way it kind of all happened.
Yeah.
Because I think it was just all a bit too obvious in the end. I think it was all a bit too, like, it was obvious that his foot was on the rope. So even though she was positioned in a way where she was, focusing on shoulder, and
for sure,
the commentary did a good job of going, well, she was doing her job. She just didn't see it. It kind of felt really obvious once the match had got restarted that Jericho was going to win.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And again, I don't have a massive problem with it because I don't believe in the slightest that Jericho is someone that's going to keep going past his due date, let's say.
Yeah. And also you yourself did actually make a point recently that maybe this wasn't big enough for Jericho to go out.
Yes.
And
it felt a bit too inconsequential, I thought.
And that's why I'm okay with it. I think the match was good.
I think
Do you know
what
I mean?
Yeah, I think the match was fine. I think they worked together well. They got good chemistry. And again, the storytelling was well done in this.
I guess my only hope is that is now the end of their story.
Yeah, this has to be done now.
I don't want that to carry on anymore.
I've wanted this to be done since Blood and Guts, to be honest. So I think that should have been the end of it.
I mean, wrestling storytelling always told me that it was gonna end up in a one-on-one match at some point.
I said it. I said he'd put his career on the line weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then he did. But yeah, it was fine. It was fine. I think the storytelling, they balanced it out well.
It was a different type of match, right? It wasn't one that's necessarily going to blow you away, but it was more about the story. It was more about kind of, is Jericho actually going to lose? The problem is because of the way the match itself was booked, by the end it became obvious that he wasn't going to lose. Yeah.
There was still a little bit when MJF got him into the Salt of the Earth.
Yeah, I did wonder, like are they finally actually gonna? Yeah,
because I think that would have been a cool way to do it.
Yeah, restart, have a little bit of hope, and then
it just takes it away, because that's who MJF is. He lulls you in and then fuck you sort of thing.
And how he got that Salt of the Earth in was good, to be fair, where he like ducked the Judas effect just like
that was cool. It was all very clever. Cool. Like, it's all very purposeful. I don't hate this match by any stretch of imagination. It was fun. It was fine. I think it was just a bit. Yeah. I think it could have been done better. I think.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But can't have it all the way. Next up, CM Punk versus Darby Allin. Darby Allin jumped out of a helicopter.
Yes, he did,
as Darby Allin is wont to do. Who was meant to be in the body bag, by the way?
Punk, maybe. Was it just a sign of like, oh, that's Punk in the body bag?
I mean, wouldn't you at least like draw on with Sharpie some tattoos?
True.
Because I was confused. I was like, is that meant to be Punk?
Because it said best in the world on the bag.
Yeah,
right?
he spray painted that on, but it's like the guy is clearly not meant to be CM Punk, because he hasn't even tried to Sharpie on some, even some rubbish tattoos. Just literally just scribbled on his arm or something. But hey ho, CM Punk comes out, and me and my brother both thought the same thing.
Okay.
because in Ring of Honor to WWE, he changed his get up.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he's gone somewhere new,
Yes.
he's changed his gear, he's changed his setup. So we were both like, I was like, is he going to wear shorts or is he going to wear long tights?
Mm-hmm.
Because he alluded to coming back to wrestling like he did, when he was in Ring of Honor, which would be the shorts. But I don't know where in my head I was like, maybe long tights.
I knew that it wasn't going to be the pants.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna.
And
my brother was the same. He was like, "Oh, I just think it was long shorts because he's changed every time he's gone somewhere."
I'm quite glad that it's the long tights, though. I think it's cool.
Well, until someone points out that he's just stolen Chuck Taylor's gear and put some stars on it, which I cannot unsee now. However, this wasn't the greatest match in the world.
No, but it did what it needed to do.
But it was a very clever match.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on it at all?
On what specifically?
What this match was. So they replicated another match.
Did they?
So I think there were
it out to me.
So I think there were 5 spots that were exact replicas or replications of Bret Hart versus 1-2-3 Kid.
Really? Okay, I did not pick up on that.
Thinking that also kind of makes sense of his gear, because his gear was kind of like Bret Hart's used to be, with the stripes down the side and the hearts, the stuff in the middle, except it's Chicago themed instead.
For sure.
And this did the exact same thing. As much as it was, can Punk still go? It is also putting over Darby Allin.
Yeah.
And
do you know what? Do you know what I thought was really clever about this match? And the reason I think the match is actually better than people might ever give it credit for is
it's a different kind of match. It's not like.
Let's remember that this match is Punk's first match in 7 years.
Well, that was the point. That's what they played up. They played up the ring rust. It was all about that.
They played up the ring rust. He did genuinely look like maybe he needs a little bit more cardio. But I'm not going to berate him for that, because at the end of the day,
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that, because I think
you reckon he maybe was playing into it a bit. Yeah, okay.
I do, because he looked fine to me, especially like near the end when he the spot of the match when he sat up from the coffin drop.
The only thing I would say, there was one thing that I would have changed, and it's not necessarily about pacing, because I was fine with the slightly slower pacing of this match, etc. But I would have liked a little bit more Punk offense in the match. For me, there wasn't quite enough.
No, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Because Darby is just so quick and so relentless. I always thought Darby was going to get the most of it, and it was going to be Punk that would need to slow him down. And I think they played into that. I think that was the story. I think the story was also the ring rust. And I think they played really cleverly into it, because he got fairly early. He hit a GTS,
and he fell out the ring, right?
And he couldn't grab him in time.
Yeah,
and that played into the ring rust. And he just sat there. And he was like, "Shit."
Yeah, and was like the very first move.
No, hold on. Cleverly though. Yeah. On top of that, instead of Punk going out and dragging him back in, he conserved his energy. He sat in the corner.
He was going to wait for the count out, right?
Yeah. Which again was really clever, because you're not going to go out there and waste the energy. I really think this is going to be.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of alluding to the sort of run that Punk is going to have, where he is going to be more of that Bret Hart sort of guy.
And I wonder whether this could play into a story where the story is almost the fact that Punk gets better over time.
Yeah.
So
of course, he will.
So they actually use that as the story of like, Punk is getting back to being the best in the world, which I think could be a really cool story.
I think so, yeah. And like I really think that he's going to have the sort of run that Bret Hart should have had in WCW.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the nonsense they did. It really feels like that's what they're going to do.
Put it this way: this match gave me enough confidence that Punk did enough in this match for me to say, and yes, he can clearly still do it.
Yeah, and I think again, it's a clever thing, because he's not going to be doing all the same stuff that he used to do, because he's older. He can, even though he looks better than he did, because he's slimmer and he looks healthier.
Yeah. He maybe doesn't have the pace, right?
So I don't think we're going to see him do that terrible moonsault that he's even said was terrible. Like I don't, I think we're going to see
We'll see the
his greatest hits sort of
yeah.
thing. You're going to see the
Mhm.
knee. You're going to see the. I don't know if you're ever going to see. He might pull out like the elbow drop once in a while.
Mhm.
But I'm really looking forward to the run he's doing because, like I said, I
Yeah.
keep saying it. I really think he's going to be. I don't know if he's ever going to win the title. I
Yeah.
think
I
other
think he
people are
will
more
if it
likely.
makes sense, right? I think
I honestly don't know if he's going to. I think there are so many people that are ahead and make more sense. And by the time he's in a position to be in that place, I think there are going to be even more people that should be.
yeah.
And like all of the interviews he's done, everything he ever talks about, and even before that in WWE, he was
Mm.
so focused on younger talent. I really think that's the run he's going to have. I
Yeah,
think
for
we
sure.
might see him in
I
team
mean,
up with someone. I think we might see other
he
bits
did
like that.
actually. He We'll get to this later, but he had a interview with Renee Paquette very
I haven't
recently.
watched that yet.
A
Yeah,
new interview
yeah.
where she basically says to him, "If you could fantasy book anything that you would like to see in AEW, what would it be?"
Mhm.
And his thing is, if it was me, you would take CM Punk, you would take the American Dragon, and people know who that is,
Mhm.
against the Young Bucks. So
That'd be
I
cool.
I mean
Yeah, that'd
I
be sick.
mean that's his thing. So I do think, well, I'm with you, and I think his run, at least in the kind of medium term, will be the Punk against the young guys type run. I still don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, because at the end of the day, Punk is still Punk, right?
Yeah, I think they're smarter than that though.
No, for sure.
I'd be very surprised if you win. I'm not totally against it by any shot. He's one of my favorite wrestlers ever. He was part of the reason I came back to wrestling years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing like the stuff with Straight Edge Society and Jeff Hardy.
I do agree with you that people are ahead of him, but I also don't know if it's as many people as we think it is,
Uh,
because it's where they
no, no,
see
no, no,
Punk,
no, no, no,
right?
no, 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 no. So there are some people ahead of him now, but by the
Yeah.
time logically he could be in the title picture,
Mm-hmm.
there will be MJF, there will be Darby Allin, there'll be countless people by that time.
That's
There are
true.
so many younger people like Jungle Boy, stuff like that. I think there are just going to be too many people, unless story wise it makes sense.
Yeah.
I find it very difficult to see him actually winning.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I think he could be up there, and I think it's just going to be cool stories to tell, like
Mm-hmm.
he is already.
Like they'll use Punk where it's necessary to use him, right?
Yeah,
They'll
yeah,
do.
they're not stupid. They're not just going to bring an older. They know he's older. They're
Yeah.
not just going to bring an older guy to use him for name value because they are beyond that now. They're
Yeah.
absolutely beyond that. I don't think they need to have a name value champion anymore. I
I
think Chris
mean,
Jericho was the only one they needed.
I don't know if I fully agree with that, because a name value champion, we've seen it even in WWE still to this day. A name value champion always makes a difference.
Oh, well, I disagree.
Really?
A name value champion makes difference to the casuals,
Yeah.
but that's not where AEW are winning.
No,
AEW are winning
but if they,
in.
but I guess my point is,
I don't think you need a. I think if you've got name contenders in and around,
yeah, mm-hmm.
it will draw in. So having
That's true.
Punk on your.
Maybe you're right, but I just wonder whether, if their plan is to eventually capture that casual audience as well, which you assume it would be.
I feel like they're already well on the way to doing that with the names they have.
No, for sure.
And
I
I think
agree with
there is
you. I don't
someone
disagree.
else better suited to that, which we will get to.
Oh, we will, because I
But
don't disagree with you on that either. I just think that, name value isn't something that should be dismissed, because I don't think you necessarily ever get past that still being a benefit.
I disagree to an extent. I think name value is a thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they're beyond that now.
Okay.
I really think they're beyond that. I don't think they need to have a CM Punk. I think they can have their homegrown guys.
I guess it's kind of like you said, right? It's one of those things where if it makes sense and it happens,
yeah,
then he maybe does add something to it that these other guys wouldn't, but it still needs to make sense.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not like, I guess the difference with WWE is when they bring The Rock in and they put the title on The Rock, that is something that, whether people like it or not, does immediately make a difference
Yeah,
to
it
their
pisses a
company.
lot of people off.
It does, but it also weirdly makes more people watch their product. It makes their product have more exposure, etc., etc. So, it's one of those weird balancing acts, right? And I'm interested to see how AEW play with that type of thing over the coming years, because they're starting to get to the point where they've got a lot of big names, and some of them might be too big to ignore down the line at some point.
And I think the thing with AEW, as I keep saying, is they're not just bringing in any WWE guy. They're bringing in ex-WWE guys that make sense, that fit what they're trying to do. Like CM Punk fits.
Yeah.
Like they've said since day one, they've wanted to get Punk.
And also, let's be clear. Yeah, I was just going to say, Tony Khan himself, it sounds like CM Punk is his favorite wrestler, with maybe the exception of Ric Flair. So,
sure, who will probably show up in AEW. I would kill for Ric Flair to join Andrade's thing. Fingers crossed. I don't know why, but I've got a feeling deep in my gut that Charlotte doesn't renew her contract.
Yeah, maybe. I've got a feeling. I've got a feeling deep in my gut that after what happened on this pay-per-view and whatever's going to happen over the next 6 months or so, I feel like we'll have a lot of WWE people, even top WWE people, and not renewing their contracts.
And I get it. Oh, they're just signing WWE guys. They're just signing big names. But the difference is, they're not.
They're not outbidding WWE.
No. It's not even that. It's a different point. While they may be under contract with AEW, if AEW doesn't have anything for them to do at the minute, there's nothing stopping them going and doing stuff with New Japan. There's nothing stopping them going over to Impact. Like, they work with people so that even if they are still paying people, like they paid people to go over and do the stuff with NWA Empowered. All of their guys that went over, Tony Khan paid their guys. NWA didn't pay them. Tony Khan and AEW paid them. So this great relationship with everything means that even if this company doesn't have something for you right now, if you're under contract,
you could be used
go
somewhere
work
else,
at Impact,
right? Yeah,
go do stuff here, go do stuff there. GCW, New Japan, like, go everywhere. Yeah, like, this is the way forward. I really think this is the way forward
for sure. But I also think there is just this thing of like, AEW is an exciting new company that is building by the day, and wrestlers who really care about wrestling and aren't just in it for the money will see AEW as an exciting prospect, right? They will see it as, I can come here, do what I want to do, have more control over what I do myself, and actually help build something which is going to benefit other people.
Even to a lesser extent, every single person that has gone over to AEW every one of them have been shocked at how nice everybody is.
Yeah.
At the base level,
it sounds like it's a different culture, right? To WWE.
And even though, like, in WWE, the guys, like the wrestlers and stuff like that, they've all got good relationships. It's pretty, it is quite tight knit between all the guys.
Yeah. The corporate structure is the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway,
let's move on.
I will explain why I think this is only the second worst match of the night. Paul White versus QT Marshall.
You think it's only the second worst match because it was very short?
No, I think it's the second worst match because it was exactly what I expected it to be.
Okay.
I expected this to be bad. I expected the woman's thing to be better than it was.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair point.
It just to be better, but it was a complete mess. They completely botched it, I think.
That's a fair point.
And again, part of that is down to the roster being very thin. There's maybe 5 people.
Part of that's probably down to the concept as well.
Exactly.
Of the match itself.
I'm going to try and fix in a video at some point. But yeah, this was shit. It was
bad.
Paul White.
It was
honestly bad. Me and my brother both wanted the same thing. I wanted Paul White to get in the ring, knock him out, 1, 2, 3.
That's kind of what I was hoping for as well.
But this went like 4 or 5 minutes and it felt like 20. It was horrible. I hated it. Hated it. It didn't it didn't feel like it belonged on this pay-per-view.
This
I
was the
think it was
match.
kind of smart where they used it as a cool-off match,
Give
so that
people
people
a
could
little
get
break. Yeah.
give people a breather, because there were a couple of promos in between this. There was the Andrade one, and there was the awesome Malachi Black one.
That
which was
almost reminds
great.
me of Tony Khan in the media scrum when he said Ruby Riot, and he apologized like, "Oh, that's the last time you'll ever hear me say that."
And like, I'll bring it up now. JR did as well. JR did botch a couple of things here, but this was the best JR's been.
Yeah.
And this just adds to my want for him to only come out at pay-per-views.
And the weird thing is,
I think it fits him as well.
Yeah.
You don't need to hear him every single week.
Because everybody knows JR is special, right? So use him as a special thing
on pay-per-views. I think that just makes sense.
Yeah, I'd agree.
This was the best.
Or even if you're gonna wheel, you could even wheel him out for big Dynamite matches, like the big matches.
On the like special shows,
yeah,
like stadium shows for sure.
So yeah, no, I'm with you though, because I also think actually there was a couple of botches even by Tony Schiavone in this evening at some point, and I think
there was by everybody.
This is what I was going to say. I don't think botches on commentary are the end of the world. It's when they happen to such a degree that they take you out of what is going on.
And in fairness, some of those botches were down to bad matches as well. Like a lot of the botches happen in the women's stuff because it was just so poorly produced and the match was a mess and stuff like that. Like Riho getting eliminated when she didn't actually get eliminated. And so I really hope they play on that.
For sure.
I really hope they play on it. Kind of like Big Show did back in the day. Yeah. Our final match was the AEW Championship match with Christian Cage, the Impact Champion, going up against Kenny Omega for his, as said, AEW World Championship.
Yeah.
I think there was some cool spots in this match, but I think their Rampage match was better.
I think the Rampage match was better, but I would still describe this match as a good match.
I think it was good. It didn't feel it was as big as they were trying to make it. Like they were trying to hype it up, and it just didn't work for me. I love Christian Cage. I really like Kenny Omega, especially when he's not with Don Callis, because he's so much funnier. But this just didn't quite feel that good. I think storytelling was good. It
was a weird one, right? Because I sort of agree with you, but then also I don't. Part of that isn't anything to do with this match. I actually think part of that is because we already had the Rampage match.
I disagree.
Really?
Disagree. I think it's just Christian. I think he just didn't. It doesn't feel weird to have him contending, but it just doesn't feel big enough to be main event. It just doesn't, unfortunately.
But that's what I mean. That's more of a.
Well, it's everything. It's the booking. It's the characters. It just doesn't feel as big, especially with you had Punk earlier in the night. When you had some of
the matches you already had, right?
Yeah,
that's what makes it harder.
It was supposed to be Hangman as well, which is the other thing. Whereas if this was Hangman, I think this would have felt as monumental as it should have been. But it didn't. It kind of felt like a B pay-per-view kind of main event. Like I said, the match itself was good. Like Christian delivers, he always does, but it wasn't.
I know what you mean. It's that.
It wasn't that like go home, holy shit kind of match. It was a good quality match.
But
like I said, there were a couple of very cool spots. The
Christian got taken out by a table leg.
Well, even before that first table spot where he stomped through the table, that was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christian took a horrible because like he speared Kenny Omega through a table that was on the outside that obviously Kenny set up, because if you set up a table,
you're the one
best
going
believe
through
your
it.
ass is going through it. As Kevin Owens can attest, because Kevin Owens just don't use tables, bro. Every single one you end up going through. Just don't. Spears him off the apron into the table, but the leg stays up. So he goes through it, but the leg like buckles and stays up, and he lands like abdomen first on it.
Yeah.
And he's got a hell of a mark on his wee tummy. Poor bastard. The end came awesomely. So there was like 3 spears in a row where he spears him in the back and it spears him in the front.
So obviously we all knew this match was going a certain way, right?
Which is also where I think was a bit of a downfall for this.
But when I'm in the match, I always try and take that out and just kind of go, let's let the match flow. And I want to know how I feel.
Even watching the match, I don't think there was a single second where I thought Christian was winning.
Really?
Not a single one.
See, there was for me. When so you know how the Good Brothers came down and then they obviously get, taken out or whatever, and then Christian hit the what does he call it? Kill switch. He hit the kill switch immediately after. And I was like, usually when there's a distraction like that, whoever gets hit with the next finishing move loses the match. And that's where my mind went.
I didn't believe for a second that he was going to win. I always thought Kenny was kicking out of that. Near the end there were a couple of cool spots as well.
He speared him in the back,
which I thought was cool, and he spears in front, kicks out of that, and then he goes for a kill switch from the top rope, which Kenny transitions into a one-winged angel for the top rope. And it was done. It was out. It felt like a bit of an abrupt ending, but it also felt like the match didn't quite build as high as I think it needed to. I think it was still a good match.
I think. Do you know what does? I think there's a few things that hurt this match, right? Because I don't think the quality of the match was actually the issue. I think the things that hurt this match are we've already seen Christian and Kenny. Christian already beat Kenny for 1 belt, so it kind of made it obvious that, okay, he's not going to beat him for the other belt. Whereas I actually feel like if these matches were almost the other way around, like if he hadn't have beaten him yet, and this match would have been this way, people might have felt differently.
I think if it happened the other way, you wouldn't get the second match.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Kenny would have already won. I do wonder whether this is going to see Cage transition over to Impact more
for a while,
being the Impact champion, which would be cool. I'd be totally down for that because he could be a top. Well, I mean, he's obviously a top guy over there because he's their champion. And they elevate people well. Like he's got
and also
Ace Austin next.
The thing is, let's give Christian credit. Like he can also, as this proves, he can still be around that top picture in AEW. It's just that I just think it might have been wrong timing for him.
I disagree. I like I said, I think the match was fine, but I don't think he can hang with Kenny or those sort of guys at their best. And I think that was at the detriment to this match a bit. I love Christian, as you all know. But he's 47 as well.
He managed to pull that Rampage match out of his ass.
The Rampage match was good for different reasons. It was kind of more of a Christian style of match sort of thing. Whereas this one, it being a big match and Kenny Omega being the big match.
Do you think it's just the thing? Do you think that part of it is just that subconscious thing where Christian is so ingrained on most wrestling fans as not the top guy that he's just not believable there because he hasn't been there?
No. I don't. I just don't think that. I just don't think. Like I said, it felt like a B show main event sort of thing. It didn't feel like the main event of the. They're all in sort of thing, their biggest or one of their 2 biggest shows. But that wasn't the end of the night.
No.
Wasn't the end of the night. So this was reeling in. And obviously we know there's a couple of people that could show up, but surely there's only one because we're right at the end.
Yeah.
Kenny,
let's talk through this for a minute.
That's literally what I'm doing. Beat down on Christian. Jungle Express come out, getting beat down as well. The odds are just unsurmountable for them. Kenny Omega gets on the mic. We'll skip ahead a little bit because I can't remember exactly what he says.
He says something like, Chicago, are you learning now?
Yeah, but that bit doesn't matter. He says the only people that can beat him are either not here retired. He says tired, but I think the mic cut out a bit.
Yeah.
Retired or are dead. Lights go out. It's all about the boom. Adam Cole. I fucking lost it.
Yeah.
Adam Cole shows up. I lost my shit because I was fully expecting this to just be Bryan Danielson. Adam Cole comes out. I fucking lost it.
I mean,
I think Adam Cole, aside from Will Ospreay, because I don't get to see Will Ospreay enough, I think Adam Cole is my favorite wrestler in the world at the moment.
So I had two mindsets on this one. I kind of expected Cole more than I did Bryan, just because we had heard the previous plans that Bryan was planned for a stadium show of Dynamite.
No, but that got changed.
That
got changed because but we heard the reason why it was changed as well.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, because there is a possibility of COVID restrictions on that.
Oh, right, okay.
So to me, because it was so late as well, and Kenny was just straight trashing, just being like, "There's no one that could beat me."
Yeah.
Lights go out. I fully expect this Bryan Danielson.
Do you know the thing that actually made me think straight away it was Cole before the music even came on? Is the fact that Kenny went, "Or they're dead." And obviously people who know, it's like, okay, that makes sense.
And they've been teasing it so heavily as well. And Adam Cole struts down to the ring, and he's so beautiful. I love Adam Cole so much. Like I said, if I got to see Will Ospreay more, Will Ospreay would 100% be my favorite wrestler because I love everything that he does. And I think he's fantastic. But I don't see him enough. I don't have access to New Japan as regularly.
Yes.
Adam Cole is the coolest wrestler in the world. I adore Adam Cole. Struts down to the ring, does his whole thing. Adam Cole, baby, and they fucking load of speakers out doing that. And then he's having a stare down with Kenny Omega.
Yeah, I
called this.
I was hoping for a second, so I want to interject here.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a second that I would get what I really wanted. As you know, I said to you for weeks.
Yeah, Cole, you thought he was going to be face.
Cole, for me as a heel, was too obvious. It was just too obvious, and it almost made too much sense. So I was like, are they really going to actually take the risk and do him as face straight away? But then, of course,
I saw this coming. He got in the ring. He was arguing with him, and I said to my brother, "They're gonna hug. He's just gonna hug him." And then I clocked Jungle Boy getting up, and I'm like, "He's gonna kick his head off." Arguing with Kenny Omega, turns, kicks Jungle Boy's head off, and then he turns to the Bucks, big old hug, does the kiss.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And they do a little bit of a talk.
Yeah, Adam Cole does a bit of a story time.
He does say no chance in hell, which I appreciated.
He says the elite are the most dominant faction in world wrestling, which, yeah, fair. And then hands the microphone back to Kenny Omega.
And everyone thought this was the end. Let's be real. He
says he's going to do what he does. And he did. Honestly, he didn't lie. He said he's going to leave everybody happy. So he starts to do his kiss goodnight. He kisses his finger, and then Flight of the Valkyries hits.
Yeah,
my brother jumped out of the seat. Yeah. I fucking lost it because I lost it because this was so late. Like genuinely, it felt like they were going to put the end card in the corner. Yeah, it felt like those NXT moments.
It felt like it was the end, right? It felt like it was. I turned to my brother. I
was like, "It's so late. Like, are they still going to do both? I don't like." And my brother was like, "That they must."
And no one actually thought they were going to do.
No,
both.
And then, which is also why it makes sense that Adam Cole comes in as a heel.
Yeah.
And I again, I've got some booking stuff that I think they're actually going to do. But Daniel Bryan
looked like he was going to cry.
Daniel Bryanson. Oh fuck me! I'm
Bryan Danielson.
Genuinely, after all this, I didn't sleep last night. I was so excited.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson hits the ring, and they get into a scuffle. It was great. He was doing on the way down. He was doing the yeses, and then just like transitioned into a point. I was like, "Oh, that's so sick, so cool."
He looks really like a badass as well.
He is. He's an absolute badass. His music's cool. Obviously, they didn't get the final countdown because they're not that stupid. That would have been fucking stupid.
Apparently, they almost did, right? Apparently, they almost did. Oh, right.
Apparently, they just wanted too much money for it. It was dumb. But
I mean, it wouldn't have fitted anyway.
No, I honestly. So both Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson worked with the people who made their entrance themes. Adam Cole's just sounds like another
version of the NXT one.
the Undisputed Era one, yeah, not his new NXT one, because it felt really generic. And Bryan Danielson's going to do that for a good long while yet. His is a remix of Flight of the Valkyries.
There was someone who actually called him Daniel during the media scrum, and he goes, "Daniel, how dare you?"
Yeah. Obviously jokingly. He didn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
But it was a hell of a way to end it. Like,
so I want to go into this a little bit.
Yes.
Because one, what balls they have to do these one after the other.
What balls they have, and how fucking well they did it as well. They nailed it.
They did it in a way that made sense, right?
Because like I watched a bunch of like YouTube reactions as well, and my two favorite are Cultaholic and Wrestle Talk. I think I love them, but I think Tom Campbell's was awesome. And there's people like they're talking along with Kenny Omega doing his Kiss Bang Bang thing, and even there they stop halfway through when they realize it's not happening and just lose their shit, and like it's great. This feels like such a huge moment. It feels, I've heard a couple of people say it on news videos, it feels like this could be the start of where wrestling becomes a bit more mainstream again, and becomes cool, because this company is just doing everything right, and they fucking nailed it.
So the reason I want to talk about this moment is I already watched the pay-per-view, because I watched it live at the time. I was like, I'm not waiting.
I was like,
I can't. I was like,
I really wanted to.
I was like, I can't wait. And luckily I had the next day off. I was like, I cannot wait. I need to watch it, right? So I had my moment of joy. But then I watched it again the next day, and my partner, who is, I would call her a fan of wrestling, because she does get into it. She knows who some of the wrestlers are, and she will watch it when I have it on.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily something she would go and seek out by herself. However, she's happy to go to a wrestling show. She gets in with the chants and all that sort of stuff. And so when Adam Cole came out, she's never really watched NXT. So she did say, "Oh, who's that?" And I was like, "Oh, that's the guy who came in and attacked Drew McIntyre when we went to watch Survivor Series a few years ago, because we were there for his debut in NXT, which was cool." And she was like, "Oh yeah, okay." And I was like, "Yeah, that's a pretty big moment, because he was literally in WWE like 2 weeks ago."
literally.
And she obviously knew about CM Punk, and she was like, "What is it with taking all these people from WWE?" I was like, "Well, they're just better at the moment, right?" I was like, they're getting better and better. And then the Daniel Bryan music hits, and initially she didn't realize who it was straight away, but the second she saw him, she literally went, "Oh my God." Like, even she lost her shit as a casual fan.
So my missus doesn't, she like kind of likes wrestling. It's fine. Certain people, because she watches a lot of things around wrestling, like Up, Up, Down, Down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she recognizes some of the people, but she'd gone upstairs by this point. She was like, "I'm going to bed. I can't bother with this." I like when Adam Cole came out, it made my dog bark because I lost it. And then when Daniel Bryan came down, he like came downstairs a bit like, "What the fuck is going on? I'm trying to sleep," sort of thing. Like, my dog was like having none of it. He like started barking at us, and we were just like, "Shut up! This is cool." It's just such a cool moment.
Yeah,
like,
it's a moment.
They've had some of the absolute biggest moments in wrestling in the last 10 years in 2 weeks.
In the space. Yeah.
And like, what did WWE have?
Nothing. Like, I genuinely think, as bad as it sounds, I genuinely think there's nothing they can do.
This really feels like that moment when Mick Foley, they tried to spoil Mick Foley winning, and it just led people over there, because reports are that WWE are just so nonchalant about.
They genuinely don't care, right? Even about Bryan. Like,
but then even all like, to some extent, I get it, because they were like, they thought this was going to happen. They knew it was going to happen when they didn't resign. But you could tell, because the day after, right after it finished, I was scrolling through Instagram and stuff like that. Tommaso Ciampa, Gargano, Pete Dunne, Cedric Alexander. There were shitloads of WWE guys, even like bigger stars like Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
that are all just like, they nailed it on social media.
Yeah.
Like, these are people on social media that are just referencing and talking about AEW without fucking caring the world. Because what are WWE going to do?
And
If
also,
they fire Kevin Owens also
yeah,
has a great
and
relationship
also
with the
it's that
Bucks.
thing of there was a moment in my head where I saw one comment where apparently they said that Daniel Bryan going there isn't a big deal. If they genuinely think it isn't a big deal, someone over there is dumb.
I kind of, but it's a bit out of context. So it's not a big deal because they knew he wasn't re-signing, so it was out of their hands.
Yeah.
I don't think it's framed quite. I think it's being taken out of context a bit. Like, they know Daniel Bryan's a big deal. They wouldn't have offered him shitloads of money, and
they actually offered him
they were
to
going to let
wrestle
him
other places. Right?
Yeah, they were going to keep paying him, and he was going to go off and do whatever the fuck he wanted, from the sounds of it. But they were just a bit too within reason, because it also turns out that Vince was a bit too protective of Daniel Bryan for obvious reasons. But Daniel Bryan's like, nah, I'm fine. I want to kick the shit out of people.
So he would have had to have basically
he would have to sign off on everything that Bryan was going to do.
Yeah.
So
which I'm sure that Tony Khan still will have to do that stuff, but I think that Tony Khan is.
I honestly don't know, because they are treated more like the independent contractors they are in AEW.
That's true.
So even though they're under AEW, and Bryan's fully said he's AEW, he's not doing New Japan because that's not possible at the moment.
Yeah. He did make it clear that he wants to, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and he has for a while, right? That's part of the reason he's left WWE. But this feels like such a huge.
I also like the fact
moment.
that if you go and watch the media scrum, even just the Bryan Danielson bit, he says, "I'm not here like Punk. I'm not here to help the young people. I'm here because I know how good I am, and I want to see how good they are."
Like, someone asks him about like creative stuff and what he wants to do next. He's like, I don't give a shit about figures or anything like that. I just want to wrestle. I don't care. I literally just want to wrestle. I don't give a fuck about all the rest of it. It's just great. It's awesome. And I honestly think, like, it's an adapt or die situation where WWE won't die, but they will just.
They're too big to just die, right?
Yeah, they are. They will. Well, I mean, said that about WCW as well. So
yeah, but WCW died over a period of time.
I mean, if WWE is going to die, it will be over a period of time. But I think they will just start losing more and more important aspects.
I do hope, though. I do hope that this stuff from AEW will make WWE. It will get to the point where WWE eventually go, okay, we have to do something now.
It will, but the only time that's going to happen is when they sell.
That's true.
I do not think for a second that Vince is going to change his mind until he's out of the question.
Before we get into deeper thoughts on Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole, because I do want to do that a little bit, I think it'd be fun. Why don't we give our overview on the pay-per-view as a whole? What did you think?
If it wasn't for the best match in the last couple of years, that cage match, and if it wasn't for the awesome reveals, this would have been a very average pay-per-view.
I agree, but you also can't take those things out of it, right?
No. That's why I think it's really clever, because a lot of it's out of their hands. Like we said, that Christian match was never meant to happen. The Christian match was meant to be Adam Page, and then Andrade was supposed to beat Kenny for the AAA title.
Yes.
But things had to change because of the situations with Adam Page. But they've shaken the landscape. It really feels like kind of like when NXT used to. When NXT had a big lot of new debuts, and it felt like shit. This is a new era. That's exactly what it feels like here. It feels like everything that Impact tried to do 15 years ago.
But this feels even more significant, right? Like, I do think the good comparison is this does feel like the NWO in WCW, in the sense of those three guys and what stars they were at the time and how much difference they made.
I think it feels more like just the outsiders for now.
Okay. Because they're not. I understand that they're not a group, and that's not the comparison I'm making.
No. I'm not either, because it feels more like the beginning of this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where Daniel Bryan's phenomenal, but he's not. It's weird. If Punk had debuted on the same night, I would completely agree with you. That it's the formation of the NWA levels, NWO levels. But it feels more just like the outsiders because of
For
how
sure.
people to be,
For
and
sure.
stuff
I
like
agree with that.
that.
And
Which
also,
is, it's not diminishing, because I honestly like it. That can come.
yeah.
There are
Well,
these
do you know
big
what I
companies
think
that
is really clever about this? I was actually thinking about it a bit last night and this morning. Is so they had CM Punk first a few weeks ago, right?
yeah,
And I think clearly he piqued people's interest in the pay-per-view.
100%.
It's the most watched AEW pay-per-view so far.
Yep.
And I think Punk, to the hardcore wrestling fan, which I would consider us a part of,
Sure.
Is what Daniel Bryan probably will be, or Bryan Danielson, but people will recognize him as Daniel Bryan. He will be that for the more casual fan, I think.
See, I disagree. Kind of.
Because there will be, I suspect that there will be people.
I think it'll be the other way around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think Punk is just far more mainstream.
Even Daniel for the Bryan, casual fan?
Yes. Because he's been in movies, he's been on the MMA, it was widely televised. When he returned, it was all over papers, everywhere.
That's true. That's true.
All over Twitter. Daniel Bryan, to me, feels more like Kurt Angle.
Okay, the one who will bring the WWE fans specifically.
Yeah, he's the one that'll pull over WWE fans. He's the one that is going to go in and be at the top of the card. He is the one that can feasibly hold this company on his shoulders and not feel a bit out of place potentially. Just because he's kept going and stuff like that.
Well, let's be clear. He literally main evented WrestleMania this year. So you're bringing in a guy who was at the top of the card.
And we also for a second just sit back and appreciate how poorly WWE is run.
Yeah.
Because in the scrum with Adam Cole, they all thought it was December.
Yeah, I know.
They all thought his contract.
Even Adam Cole did, right? Even Adam
he was
Cole.
told it. Yeah, he was told it was December. And then before the stuff with Kyle O'Reilly had finished, he was talking to someone and he was like, just wondering what, thinking about what he's going to do in December. And then they were like, actually it's in 3 days.
Yeah, we're going to talk in 3 days.
It was like, I like this. It was also last minute. Like Tony Khan was like, yeah, no, as soon as it came out, we kind of started talking and stuff like that. And Adam Cole, it wasn't like Daniel Bryan where it was a tough decision because Daniel Bryan enjoyed his time there.
Yeah.
Adam Cole also had a very good time there, but he knew for such a long time that
there was so much for him over in AEW, right? Yeah. I do think the Daniel Bryan one, the Bryan Danielson one, is a really interesting thing as well, because he didn't have a bad word to say about WWE. And it did almost make it seem like it was so hard to the point where maybe he almost stayed. And
that's the thing. He didn't have a bad word to say, and it's something he pointed out. He doesn't have a bad word to say about WWE. He loved his time there, and he had a great relationship with so many people.
And he still went.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He still left. Like, it's such a unique opportunity to do what they do. I said this to you. I think it was yesterday, probably yesterday. I honestly still think Adam Cole is the bigger acquisition.
Long term, I agree. Yeah. Short term, I don't.
No, for sure. But that's what I'm saying. I think long term. I think overall he is going to be the bigger acquisition.
The thing about Adam Cole, right? So I think we should talk about the three major ones, and we'll talk about Ruby Soho in separate terms. But Punk is obviously huge because Punk is Punk, right? Punk was always going to be huge. Whoever got him, wherever he turned up, it didn't matter which company it was. Cole is huge because he will be wrestling for another 10 or 15 years.
Well, like I said to you, he's a heel. He's always been a heel, and he's fantastic. He's one of the best heels. People boo him.
Yeah.
Because they enjoy booing him. They love Adam Cole. He just
and
gets
they
more.
But they
and more
also
popular.
want to cheer him, right? Like that's the thing. Is like there will be that moment for Cole where he does become mega face.
I would imagine so, and I think he and the Bucks might be something to do with that. I really see a breakup happening.
For sure. For sure. Maybe you should book that one in the future.
maybe it's what I thought about a lot. But it's also he's so good at every single thing, and he's only 32.
Yeah.
He could go for another 15 years.
Yeah, well, this is what I was saying. So long term, I do agree.
And that's exactly what I mean.
I
That
agree.
is exactly what I mean.
However, I don't think that takes. Obviously, we don't know. Like with Daniel Bryan, with Bryan Danielson, we had no information about his contract yet.
Well, I can guarantee you, he's not going to be wrestling for 15 years.
No. But there is also that thing of he could have more of an impact in the time that he's there, right?
Yeah, but like I said, I'm talking long term. I really think that he could be like Adam Cole could be like a Shawn Michaels level in AEW. He could do what AJ Styles did outside of WWE,
for
but
sure,
on a bigger stage.
For sure.
Which is why I think he's the better acquisition, because that is
he's not necessarily bigger, but better is
and he is going to be someone that they can build the company around.
And
I
also,
cannot wait for him versus Jungle Boy, for him versus Adam Page.
And also, let's be clear, better is relative as well, because both Bryan Danielson and CM Punk give this company something that nobody else in that company gives.
Yeah, but short term is all well and good, but short term, if you're just thinking short term, your company's fucked.
Yeah,
which is what we're seeing a lot with WWE. So I think they're just hitting it.
They're doing it really well, right?
They are really well, except for their women's division, which really, really, really needs some surgery. It really.
It's got that one initial that one additional star now, which will help, of course.
It needs Ruby more.
Soho. It does need more. It does need more, but I feel like it will also get more.
I think so. I hope so.
And also the other thing is, they've got Thunder Rosa now, who essentially will be there very quickly, I would assume, as well.
I'd imagine Thunder Rosa is the one that takes the title.
So I think it's that thing of right now, if you look at the women's division, they maybe have four people that believably could be champion.
And we've already seen one of them do it.
Yeah.
So I think Nyla Rose is a bit out of the picture.
Yeah, for sure. But she can be there if needed.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's kind of the point.
But we do need.
But they need more than four, right? Because you can't have the same four people wrestling for that belt.
And granted, you will see, Ty Conti and people like that get there, but they need more now, because they're already running out of angles to.
It's one of those things, right, where Ruby Soho probably now has them in an interesting place for another 6 months, but how many other people are going to be ready in 6 months? Because they only do limited pay-per-views, I think it's a 6 months.
Yeah, but their next one is 2 months.
Yeah.
Next one's November.
But then the next one after that is Double or Nothing, right?
I'm not sure if it goes that long, so I think Double or Nothing will be Thunder Rosa.
True.
Because they've talked about her being 2022.
But what I mean is,
it adds a bit.
I guess my overall point is it gives them time, but the question is, by the time they get to Double or Nothing, which is where I assume Britt will ultimately lose the belt, unless they choose to build this division around Soho, which they could do as well, conceivably. But if they, by the time they get to Double or Nothing, which I believe is in March, usually, it's like, who else is ready by then? Because,
maybe two people.
Yeah.
And from where we're sitting currently, because I think Conti could. Yeah. I think Statlander probably would.
Mm-hmm. And I guess at that point it's the thing of how many do you actually need for a compelling women's division?
I think you need to bring in a good 4 or 5 solid names.
Really, you think so?
Yeah. I mean, look at the Battle Royal.
Yeah, that's true.
There was maybe 5 or 6 out of the 21 that were actually
believable winners.
Yeah. Like it was, when it got down to the final 3, it's like, well, that's the final 3.
For sure. So let me ask you a question then, because I do, I'm gonna take it to WWE for a minute. But why in WWE then was it okay for them to essentially build their women's division around 4 female wrestlers for 2 years and everybody was happy with it.
Because they had more than just those 4.
Yeah, but everybody knew it was those 4 though,
Yeah,
right?
no, but building around someone and having no depth are 2 different things.
Yeah, that's true.
WWE built around those 4, but they had supplemental other that
Who could have,
fit in
right?
as well.
Yeah.
Like Carmella is someone that is believable in a women's match, sort of thing. Like,
yeah.
they
And
have
she is a
people who
former
are just-
champion, right?
yeah, they have people who are just a bit below, but they are still believable. Like Christian, he's believable in a world title match, but you don't necessarily think he's going to win.
That's true. That's true.
But AEW don't have that.
No,
And
yeah.
like part of the problem is WWE as well, because when Triple H had full control of NXT, he made their women's division unparalleled.
Yeah, it was great.
And
right?
he was just signing the best outside of Japan.
I do
and sometimes Japan as well.
For me, I do wonder whether I'm not quite. I'm with you, but I'm not quite as drastic as you. I don't necessarily think they need 4 or 5.
I do.
I think
I do, because it's great that they have a lot of people with a lot of potential, but they're all kind of at the same place. They're all in year 1.
Yeah. No, for sure.
That are also in year 3 and some more experience. Like Mickey James would have been such a great pickup. Because she's not someone that needs to win a title.
So
she adds too much.
So I guess that my thought on it, and this is the way I'll try and explain it as quickly as I can, is if you get 2 more, let's say that you get 2 more women of a Ruby Soho level, right, for your division. And then you still have your Thunder Rosa, your Nyla Rose, Britt Baker as well. You can conceivably have those people at that point. If you get 2 more, like we're saying right now, they've potentially got 4 believable winners, but in that battle royal, they had 6 that could have won it and made sense, right? So overall,
no, there were 3.
Yeah, but even you said just now there were maybe 6 that would have.
No. All together in their women's division.
Yeah.
The 2 in that women's match, and then 5 because of the 3. Well, 5 because of the 3 that were in that final.
So you're saying there's 5 women so far. So my thing is, if you get 2 more, you've got 7 women, right? And those 7 women you can potentially do enough interesting things with for 2 years at that point.
No, absolutely not.
You don't think so?
No, because you'll just see too much of them and it will get old. You need more variation.
Yeah.
You absolutely need more variation.
I don't know though. Like I feel like 7 women is quite a lot of variation.
Well, look at it like this. How great is Charlotte Flair? How great is Bayley? How great is Sasha Banks? How great are the top women stars?
Yeah.
But how fed up are people of seeing them?
That's true.
Because they have to keep going back to the same women. That's why you need to bolster this. It's great they've got people at that year 1 level, but they need some people like that Ruby Riott who didn't get their shot at the top, but they do also need some stars to come in.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know if it ever comes true, but it's kind of an Adam Cole situation where Charlotte Flair has got so many people outside of WWE now that she's so heavily connected with. I wonder if she resigns.
Yeah, maybe.
And how sick would it be if she turned up as what's her real name?
I don't know.
Sarah Flair?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm kind of with you. Like I don't think it's
because you don't need to bring every single person into Ashley Flair. You don't need every single person to come in to be someone who's gonna
be at the top.
Yeah, be at the top, but you need to fill out that division.
No, I get all that.
But you need your Matt Hardys and stuff.
I guess my thing is, if I compare it to some of the male storylines that we've had in the past, right? Or some of the male kind of competitors we've had, there was a period in time where WWE had essentially their top stars at one period in time were Triple H, Edge, Cena, and Orton, right? And they did obviously have different challengers throughout that time. But if you really go back and look at it, there was probably only ever 7 or 8 men that were really in the main storylines for that belt.
No, absolutely. But that also proves my point, because people got sick of Randy Orton, they got sick of John Cena, they
They did, but my point is it took a long time, right? And I guess my point of what I'm saying is, could they buy themselves time for those other people to develop
If they get 3 or 4 more people
without having to bring other people in?
No.
Interesting.
Because after Thunder Rosa wins,
yeah,
what happens?
Can't you go back to someone else?
What, I just do the same competitors again?
Can't you do no? But what I mean
because you'd have
is,
to start at the beginning. You'd go back to Nyla Rose, you'd go back to Shiho, you'd go back to Ruby Riot.
Yeah, but
Ruby
Soho. those are
You-
then matches that we wouldn't have seen, right?
Well, no, because we have seen them.
Yeah, but not again. But
It doesn't matter if it's a different level. Seeing the same match again and again, and like they're about to put Randy Orton back in the title picture, and everyone's like,
yeah,
it needs more. You need more depth. You need to fill out.
interesting.
What does everybody else do? What does everybody
Mm.
else do? How do you get to that top spot?
Yeah,
Again, you're just fighting the same people. You need new, fresher blood. You don't necessarily need people that are, they're all going to get to that top thing. But you need difference. You need, I like something. I can't remember. I think it was someone on Wrestle Talk that pointed it out as well. Something in the women's division, obviously it's lacking numbers, so it would be, but it's also lacking is there's a lack of importance on it because there's one faction in women's wrestling in AEW.
Yeah.
The other factions that people are part of are men's factions with a woman on the side.
Yes. Yeah.
There needs to be more. Paige is teasing to come back. I don't know if WWE clear her. AEW probably would.
Yeah.
Because AEW would have cleared Bryan because they listen to everybody. They don't just listen to their own inner circle.
Yeah, for sure.
I really think it just needs 3, 4, 5 additions. And again, not necessarily top stars. I think you have 1 or 2 either pushing the top or top stars come in to bolster that. And then you have a bunch of like mid cards come in that could get there as well.
Yeah, I guess that my thought was around if you bring in the Iconics, right? That's 2 more. And that's 2 that conceivably.
That's 1.
No, it is 2.
Jess is great, but she's not someone in that I would put as a title contender. I would put what's the other one? Fuck, I forgot her name.
Oh, I can't think.
Peyton. It was Peyton. I can't remember what she's called now. I think she is. I think she's got a lot of untapped potential.
Yeah.
I like Jess good as well, but I if you're bringing
Jess does good character stuff, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we haven't really got to see what else, but every time they were both in the ring, Peyton was always the better one in the ring.
Yeah, no, for sure,
And I think she's just got a higher ceiling. But if you're bringing the Iconics in, you're bringing them in as a tag team.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not bringing them in as solos. You're bringing them in as a tag team. And
but they can still work solo if needed.
But again, that's also to my point. You bring the Iconics in, that's great. But that's also more people you need to build up.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's not really buying you time. That's just adding to the time that you need. They need Mickey James. I keep saying it. Mickey James would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Mickey James would have been perfect for the division.
I know what you mean. You almost need the ready-made stars, and they are big enough to buy you time to build. That's what we've had
so far. Like Britt Baker wasn't the star, but she's become a star in the last year or 2 years.
Yeah,
she's become elite level.
And if
they need like a Bayley,
and if you need a year
Flair
to build each star, you need some stars that are ready made to help you get time to build those stars, right?
Thunder Rosa's kind of already built, but she's not quite there. She does still need building up a bit more.
Yeah,
Ruby's the same.
But Thunder Rosa is probably Ruby and Thunder Rosa are probably the 2 that within 6 months will both be stars, right?
Yes.
And that's kind of the thing is okay.
But then that's it. They've got 3 stars.
Yeah, 3 stars in a division. Yeah, that's true.
Which isn't enough.
No, but then
it's a good place to start to build around.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it. They have 3 stars. They've got a couple of people in the middle.
I guess that was kind of my point though, because I don't necessarily disagree with you. My point, I guess, was more around how much time can that 3 stars and the kind of, I don't want to call it a wild card, but like the safety bet of Nyla Rose, because Nyla Rose works if you need her to work, right?
Yeah.
So I would say 4, but how much time does that 4 within the next 6 months, 3 who are true stars, give you to develop those other people? Like, how much time can you conceivably get out of
I
those 4 people?
I don't think a lot, because it's not a guarantee that any of these people coming up who look promising are actually gonna make it.
That's true. That's
Is
true.
also a tricky one. You need to balance it, and at the minute, the balance is too far
In the
potential.
potential.
You
Yeah,
need, Ruby does help, but she is also still potential
for sure.
because she
sure.
never got that. Like she said, no one's ever chanted her name.
Yeah. She never actually got
Britt Baker
given the
wasn't.
chance, right?
No, and Thunder Rosa isn't either. Like, Thunder Rosa is fantastic. I
Yeah.
love her so much. She's great,
Mm-hmm.
but she's not a top star.
No, but then
They need a couple of top stars to build around.
yeah, it's an odd case though, isn't it? Because even if you look at their men's division, really, their men's division wasn't in that different of a place when they first started. Like,
I disagree.
it wasn't really.
Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, John Moxley, Pac,
But
the
John,
Lucha Bros
but John
both came
Moxley
in.
wasn't there straight away.
As a company, they were.
They started in October, right?
Didn't they start with Double or Nothing? That was
I
their
think
first
no,
show?
no, Double or Nothing was their first pay-per-view after being a company.
Yeah, but that was their first show. They hadn't started Dynamite yet, had they?
I don't know. Was it? I can't remember. I lose track.
Yeah,
you
I
might
do
be
as well.
right. You might be right.
That was, that was kind of the nexus of where they started to blow up.
Yeah, that's true.
They
true.
had stars. They had stars in the tag team, in the mid-card.
But my point is about the men's division is if you look at it, yes, they had Jericho. Yes, they had Kenny. They had Cody. They had Moxley. Outside of that, in terms of their singles division, so their singles division was built on 4 stars, essentially.
Yeah, but they had the depth as well. They had guys like MJF who already established. They had,
but what I mean is that
Adam Page. So they had people like that.
I guess my point is the 4 stars gave them enough time to build the other stars.
No, because it's a different place. The other stars that they were bringing in or had at the beginning were miles ahead of where the young women are.
Okay, currently. That's interesting. Okay, that makes more sense.
Like, even take Conti. She's in year like 2.
Yeah, she's not necessarily where MJF was, right?
No.
Yeah.
Like, they were bringing in people off the indie. Like, if they were able to get like a Candice LeRae or something like that, that would have been a massive, massive boost.
Yeah.
But they don't. The women's division is starved of star power.
Yeah. Even at that slightly lower level, right?
It's got what? Because you need star power throughout. You don't necessarily need star power at the top of the card.
Yeah,
just at the top of the card. Because I mean, CM Punk fought Darby Allin. Darby Allin's a young up and coming guy. You try and do that in the women's division, you can't, because there is nothing.
Yeah.
There is no star to elevate other stars. All that is happening at the main, and you can't pin that all on Britt Baker. You need other people to help her.
Yeah.
That's like WWE being like, John Cena's going to be the only guy. The rest of you fuck off.
No,
we're just going to go young. They need an injection. I completely appreciate that they have got potential, but potential is potential. It's not guaranteed.
No,
so they do need, like I said, I don't know what it is. I just got a feeling in my bones that Charlotte Flair could be that person that moves across. Ric Flair's out. Andrade's obviously there. I think they're becoming quite close-knit as well.
For Charlotte Flair, I think it might depend on how long her contract is, because women in general seem to not wrestle as long as men, is what I've found.
Yeah.
And
Charlotte could change that mind. I really think
she could. She could for sure.
I think Charlotte.
But also, Charlotte has been wrestling for quite a while. And I get this feeling that she might be one of the few wrestlers that has a really long contract with WWE. So,
I wonder if I can.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to see. I definitely think some women will move over.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Her contract expires in late 23, early 24. So not that long.
Okay, so we're talking about a 2-year situation.
Yeah.
So that's conceivable, I guess, because in 2 years' time. But the thing is, even in 2 years' time, the AEW women's division will be in a different place than it is now.
Yeah. But Charlotte is a pipe dream.
No, of course.
I don't literally mean go and get Charlotte. They need to supplement their potential with already made stars to help them.
Do you know what though? One thing I will say, and this is kind of my final thing on the women's division, I do sort of agree with you, but it's also that weird division that this time next year, even if they add no one else, I could feel totally different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It absolutely could. It's all kind of hypothetical because in a perfect world, Tay Conti, Cargill,
because
Red
it's
Velvet all
because
come
it's like
in
you
and
said,
they
they are,
all just
because it's like you
actually hit
said,
their
they're
prime.
they're all full of potential, right? But even if three of those people that have potential realize that potential within the next year, that in itself makes the women's division a different thing. And
It makes it a bit better, but it doesn't make it much better because they're still quite threadbare.
Yeah,
because
sure.
then that's people moving up and you still don't have anything in the middle.
Yeah. The middle could be the problem for them, right?
Absolutely. And you think about if one gets pregnant, what happens? Like Tessa Blanchard, I get it. She's a bit of a dick.
Someone's going to sign her soon. Someone's going to sign
Tessa Blanchard, just fucking get her.
Yeah.
Because that's someone that could go in at the top or near the top and can do that for you. Deonna Purrazzo seems to want to go over.
But
she's a good name.
But she is also a weird one because when she went to Impact initially, she was just potential, right?
Yeah, now she's not. Now she's fantastic.
But yeah, they took the risk of putting someone who was just potential almost immediately at the top of their card. And it worked. And it made her a star. So it does make me wonder.
The difference here is that AEW has also tried that and it hasn't worked.
That's true.
It didn't work with Jade Cargill, even though she looked great in the Rumble.
Yeah, that's true.
It didn't work with Red Velvet because she does not look ready. It hasn't worked with Chris Statlander, even though she looks probably the closest thing to ready.
I was going to say, though, is it that it didn't work with Statlander, or is it just that...
Did you believe she was going to win the women's title?
Yeah, but
at any point in that match.
But what I mean is that's nothing to do with her.
No, it is.
Why?
Because it's the in-ring work as well.
No, because
it's the aura she gives off as well. It's not just all the promo and the story. It's in match. In that match, I don't think there was a single second where she was going to win.
Yeah, but for
whereas
me,
you look at the Bucks versus Penta, the Lucha Bros.
Yeah,
there were so
it could have gone either way, right?
Or like the mirror match, you felt like it could go either way.
No, that's true. That's true. But for me, with the Statlander thing, I just wonder whether that is more to do with the build and if the build was different, you could have felt different. I think. I think
you could have felt a bit different, but the Christian match is a perfect example. They built that to feel like Christian could win. I never once thought for a second he was going to win. Never once for a second, because it's both. It's what you're capable of and how you hold yourself. And it's the promo stuff, and it's the build.
But
they could do all they want with the build.
So that brings me to an interesting point about Christian, though. Surely you've just kind of talked yourself out of your Christian point, because we know that Christian is capable of being the champion. Like, we know that, he's been a world champion before in his career. Do you know what I mean?
But it hasn't, because I never once for a second, like I said, thought that he was going to win.
Yeah, but
not for a second did I think he was going to win.
But I'm saying that you're saying that stuff is built on what they're capable of.
Yeah, and I didn't think he was capable of winning.
But if we know that they're capable of winning, surely that plays into it.
But no. But listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. I did not for a second believe that he was capable of winning.
For what reason, though?
Because he just isn't. He's just not believable as winning that. It made sense that he won the Impact title. But I never for a second believed it.
No, but that's what I mean. But that's only because of the story.
No.
That's not to do with his in-ring work.
No, it is. I never once for a second thought that 47-year-old Christian was going to beat Prime Kenny Omega.
So why is he capable of winning one world title belt, which is still a world title belt? Yeah. Whether you like that company or not, it is.
I love Impact, but the Impact title is not. That's like.
But the guy is a former world champion in WWE.
For a day. He got
even for longer than that.
Look, regardless how you feel, it does no one believed, not a soul believed that he was going to win that title.
But I don't believe that anyone would have believed anybody could beat Kenny in that match. Anyone.
Hangman.
No, I think even Hangman.
No, Hangman would have won that.
Really? You think
that
so?
would have been one Hangman, because that seems to be what the plan was.
But is that only because that's what people wanted? That's my point.
It felt like
does
it was
it?
ready.
Yeah,
because
I suppose
if it wasn't for that happening, he probably would have kept the Impact title, but he would have lost the AAA title, like we know was supposed to happen.
Yeah,
Hangman, that would have been his time.
Yeah,
unless they.
But why? So explain to me then, why does an undefeated Christian who hasn't lost up to that point not make sense? Like that just doesn't compute with me. Like
because
I don't.
Christian. Like I love Christian. You know.
I don't. No, but I don't see how that doesn't make sense. Like you can't say that.
Did you genuinely think that Christian was going to win that match?
It's not what I thought.
No, it is going to
win.
No, it is. Answer the question. Did you genuinely think at any point he was going to win that match?
No, but
that's exactly why.
But the only
he doesn't
reason
have
I didn't.
The aura. He doesn't
no. But that's what I'm saying. The reason I didn't think he was going to win is nothing to do with him.
It's
in my opinion,
to do with him.
No, in my opinion, it's not.
No. It is absolutely to do with him, because it's not like they tried to build it to make it seem like Christian could win.
Okay.
But it was still unbelievable. No one believed he was going to win.
I don't think so. For me, it wasn't that far off. For me,
it was miles.
For me, if he wouldn't have won the Impact title, I would have believed there was a chance he could win.
Not a chance.
But why?
Not a chance? He's just not of that stature anymore.
But would you? But stature doesn't matter, because you can make stature in wrestling.
But he doesn't fit. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't in any way, shape, or form. Christian
Is it just
never
was. Do you think it was because it was two thrown together? Like, do you think if it was an actual
No, I just
story...
don't. I don't think there's any way, shape, or form that Christian. And I said it when he debuted. I said it when he came in. I told you that he was not going to win the AEW title.
Yeah,
he never felt like he would. Impact makes sense because sure, it's a world title, but it's kind of a world title.
But you can't say that, in my opinion.
Yes, you can. It's not an IWGP. It's not a WWE. It's not.
No, but
it's
Impact,
not a major promotion title.
Not anymore, but they were.
Yeah, they were.
So it's still. No, I would say that. I would say the only reason it's more believable for them is because he's an Impact legend. That's the only reason.
Because what stars do Impact genuinely have? They're in a similar position where they have a lot of people that are going to go to different countries.
Well, at the time, arguably, they literally had Kenny, who was their champion. He beat Kenny for the belt.
No, Kenny was never an Impact guy.
But he's still an Impact champion.
No, but he's not an Impact guy.
Yeah.
What stars do Impact have?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Like, I would argue Moose is maybe the most realistic one, but they don't. Like, their last champion was Rich Swann.
I just personally, for me at least, it's never about the wrestler. It's always about the story. Always.
So if you build, do you think if they built it right, that you could see Drake Maverick dominating Kenny Omega?
Both. It's not about dominating.
No, but that's what. No, but that's what I'm saying. If you try and build it that Drake Maverick can dominate Kenny Omega, would you ever believe that?
No,
exactly, because it's about both. It's about the build.
It is about both. It is about both. But I personally feel that in Christian's case and in Statlander's case, they have enough on the one side that if you build it right, it does become believable.
I don't think there's any way to build it to make it believable in that situation. Statlander, maybe in a year.
Yeah.
Maybe in a year. Christian, no.
Yeah.
Christian 5, 10, 15 years ago, sure. Maybe.
But why?
Christian now, because he's a 47-year-old man.
It doesn't matter.
Well, it does matter.
No, it doesn't.
No, but it does. Okay, sure. It wouldn't matter if you weren't going up against Kenny Omega.
But why should anyone believe?
Because it's Kenny Omega.
Yeah, but
it's
again,
not like you're going up.
But again, that doesn't really matter because stories are stories in wrestling.
but it does. But it also has to make sense in ring. As good as like this is what I'm saying about the women's division.
Yeah.
You could do as much to build a match and make someone feel like a star if you want. But if they don't have it, they don't have it. We've seen this so many times in WWE. They try and build someone, but people aren't behind them because they're just not believable. Jinder Mahal, perfect example. No one fucking believed Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
And no one liked
that's
it.
True.
If you try and push the wrong person in the wrong place, look at Christian, right? Christian got booed because he wasn't Hangman. People wanted Hangman, and people weren't happy with it being Christian.
But that's only because people wanted Hangman.
No, it's because of Hangman, and it's because of the way the story was built. They've had to pull Hangman out because
and that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So again, you're saying it's because of the way the story was built. So the way the story is built does make a difference.
Stop. You're twisting this to go in your direction. It's both. It's both. Both have to.
It is both. But are you honestly saying? Are you honestly saying it's not possible that if you build it in the right way, it can still be believable? Because I just don't believe that to be true about anybody. Literally anyone.
Like I said, do you think they can build it that Drake Maverick could dominate Kenny Omega?
No, but I do believe they could build it that he could win.
But that's not the question I just asked you.
But I'm not. But I'm not talking about dominate or not dominate. Am I?
No. But I'm telling you, right? This is the story I'm pitching to you. Do you think they could realistically? Because you're saying that most of it is to do with the promos and the storytelling. Mm-hmm. Do you think they could convince you, story-wise, that Drake Maverick can dominate Kenny Omega?
No,
because it's not realistic.
But again, because my thing isn't about dominate or not dominate. My thing is purely about win or not win.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. That's the story I'm pitching you.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you that it's a win or not win. That's not the story. I'm telling you the story that I'm pitching to you right now.
Yeah.
For me to make you believe is that Drake Maverick is going to dominate Kenny Omega.
You are correct. And it's not. Mine, I don't
because
think you can make it believable that anyone can beat anyone.
Sure, and no one believed that Kenny Omega was going to lose Christian in the cage.
No, but that's my point. Is it could have still been believable had it been built in the right way. You can make it believable that anyone can beat anyone.
I don't think there's any circumstances where anyone genuinely thought that Christian Cage was going to beat for Kenny Omega for the AEW title. Any circumstance, even if the Impact title wasn't even an existent thing.
Okay.
I don't think there is a single way.
Even if he hadn't lost for like 3 years, do you still think it wouldn't have been believable? I don't think
there's a single way. Because Kenny Omega is God tier.
But what if Kenny wasn't? What if Kenny was on a losing run? What if something like that? There is a way to build it.
No, but if he was on a losing run, he wouldn't be the AEW champion.
But you don't know that, right?
Well, I do know that because if he was on a losing run, by the fact he's on a losing run, he would have had to lose the title. You can't lose every match.
No, but not
a losing run.
But not every match he has is a title match.
But he's going to have a title match at some point. You can't lose to people constantly and not have a title match.
Yeah, no, I get that.
There is
no way, shape, or form. I think there's always a way for literally every single wrestler to build it that they could beat anyone.
Do you genuinely believe that Drake Maverick could ever beat Kenny Omega?
If they built it in the right way, yes.
No.
I believe that. I honestly believe it's true of every wrestler.
It's a balance. It's a balance. Do you think they could build a story where Riho is going to lift the Big Show? No, because it's not realistic.
It's not realistic. But it's a totally different type of story at that point.
No, it's not. Because the overarching is believability.
Nobody really cares that much.
I mean, clearly they do. Because no one believed that Christian Cage was going to win. And you heard that in the crowd reactions. You heard it on social media.
Yeah.
People love Christian Cage. I adore Christian Cage. He's one of my favorite wrestlers ever.
But my point is, building it differently would have made it feel different.
I don't think
that's inarguable.
It would have made it feel.
Have.
No, but it would have made it feel different. But I don't think it would have changed the result.
I'm not saying it would have.
Nobody believes that Christian Cage.
I think it's impossible. It's the statement of nobody is the one I don't like because I have not seen a
single person that thought that Christian Cage was going to win.
No, in the way they built it, I agree. That's not what I'm arguing.
But you're arguing semantics. This is the way they built it.
No, I'm not. I'm not there. What I'm saying is, my point is,
otherwise it's hypothetical. Looking at the way they built it, I have not seen a single person that thought Christian Cage was winning this match.
Yeah, but my point was more about if they had built it a different way.
But that, realistically, that's irrelevant. because they didn't build it a different way. They built it the way they did.
No, but you have to at least accept that there
You
is
don't.
a possibility that
Well, I mean,
if
you
they
don't,
built
because
it
it
a
was the way they
different
did
way.
it. We're arguing about the match that there was and whether
Yeah.
Christian Cage was ever believable to beat Kenny Omega. The
Yeah.
way they built it, even though they tried to build it in every way they could to make Christian Cage look good and make him look like a threat,
Yeah.
never felt like a threat. He felt like a threat to the Impact title because Kenny had to lose it at some point, and Christian is an Impact legend.
Do you think
so that
that's
makes
only
sense.
because? Do you think that part of that is majorly because of what happened with Hangman? Though, do you think if the story was
If it
just
wasn't
with
for
Christian
Hangman-
to start with,
No, if
it
it
might
wasn't
have
for
been
Hangman,
different?
Christian wouldn't have been in that position at all
Why?
because he wouldn't have.
Well,
he just wouldn't have. That wouldn't have been where the story went because that's not what they were building to. They were building to Hangman.
no,
They were
but
building to Andrade winning the
but that-
AAA title.
Yeah,
It wouldn't have been Christian.
I mean, it would have because the rankings dictate. That
No, it wouldn't have because the goal was to get the Hangman over
Yeah.
and get him to win.
Yeah, but
But
I
Hangman
guess
had
my
to be
point
pulled
is,
away.
if there was no Hangman story, was
But
my point.
But again, you're debating something that didn't actually happen. So it's complete hypothetical. You can
Yeah.
only look at what actually happened.
Yeah,
Hangman had to be
but
pulled away, but the plan was this.
but that's where I take my issue of saying that it will never be believable that Christian could win that belt is just not true.
But it wasn't.
Because it
but
wasn't
what-
at the time.
But
But
this is what I'm saying.
what you actually said is that it will never be believable.
And
that
I
he
don't think
could
it
win.
would.
But you don't know that.
But you don't know that it would.
No, but that's my point. Is
I have the evidence to back me up that this whole run,
yeah,
it was never believable that Christian was going to win the AEW title. I said it from day one when he walked into AEW building.
Yeah.
Never was going to win that title.
I don't think you put someone on an undefeated run like that and then have it not
Just
be
did.
believable.
It just did.
But that
It wasn't
but that
believable.
was circumstance. I
Yeah, but it
think.
also wasn't believable.
No, yeah, but
Christian just isn't believable as someone that can beat Kenny Omega.
I don't think that means that it isn't believable that he could win that belt, though. That's where I disagree.
I think it's completely unbelievable that he wins that belt.
I don't.
Completely. I don't think there is any way. Shape, or form
That's like you when you say, "Oh, in WWE, Edge will never win the belt," and you changed your tune pretty quick on that one.
I didn't. I still don't think he should win the belt.
You don't think he should, but you now believe that he can, and you didn't believe he could before.
No, I said he shouldn't. And I don't think he will.
Yeah.
I think he can, but I don't think he would or should.
Yeah, that's
which is what
interesting.
I've been saying for today. And it's the same with Christian. Except with Christian, I don't believe he can feasibly in any while Kenny Omega has the
But
title,
do you not think that?
I don't think so.
I
don't think AEW ever
but my argument isn't Kenny has the title. My argument is just in general. Do you think it's not possible to build a way where Christian becomes your champion?
Well, no, because that's not what we were debating. We were debating Kenny Omega. We were debating the situation that happened.
Yeah.
If you take the title off of him, then I don't know. It depends who is the champion.
How they build it, right? But this,
no, because it's not all about build. It's also about the person. Look at it like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Karrion Kross, before WWE fucked him up,
yeah,
you would have expected him to beat Samoa Joe. Did you believe for a second that Samoa Joe was not going to win that NXT title after WWE fucked his complete aura up and no one believed he was the badass he was supposed to be?
Did I believe for a second after that? No, but again, that comes back to the build. Because that was a build thing.
No, because they built that match like Karrion Kross was a badass.
Yeah. But they also built it on the other side.
No, they didn't.
The other side didn't build that, but they did that, right?
No, but it wasn't built. The build was everything that happened on NXT.
Yeah.
Everything that happened on Raw had nothing to do with it. It was completely separate.
No, but it still affects the character.
But it wasn't built. And that's exactly what I mean. That character then became unbelievable.
Yeah.
People did not believe him as a badass. People were heckling him.
No, of course. But like any character, right? In wrestling in general, and this is a conversation for another day. But like literally any character, all it takes is a repackage and build them in a different way, and a few months, and people do. No. It's proven time and time again. People think differently.
No. Hypothetically, yes. In reality, no. It has to be the right person. You can't just repackage anyone. Like again, you can't repackage Drake Maverick into being a killer. No one's gonna believe it. You
Yeah.
have to get the balance right. You have to find the
I
right
get
characters.
that they have to look right and they have to be capable of the right things, but Christian is still capable of the right things. He wouldn't be able to pull off the matches he can pull off without being capable of that stuff.
Sure, he pulls off good matches, but I don't think in any way, shape, or form that he's ever going to win the AEW title.
Interesting.
I don't think there's any way you can pull it that people are going to believe that he should without pissing them off.
But I guess that my thing is I don't really care about pissing people off.
I mean,
because whatever decision you make is you're gonna piss people off.
No. But there's a difference between pissing some people off and pissing everybody off.
You'll never piss everyone off. It's impossible.
No. But everyone is a broad term. Everyone is the majority of people. Everyone is not everyone.
Yeah.
Because everyone is never everyone. Ever.
Yeah.
So when you piss everybody off, you're pissing off the majority. And that's what AEW don't do. They deliver what's right.
Yeah.
And Christian, he is one of my all-time favorites. I adore Christian. He is not right. He just isn't. I think he's going to do wonders as Impact champion. I think he's going to do a lot for that brand. Like I said, I honestly expect him to move over that way a bit more now.
Yeah.
Even maybe completely. He might still be contracted to AEW, but he'll move over there, and that'll be where he is because he's their champion.
For sure.
It makes sense to be there. But I don't think there's any way, shape, or form where anyone thought that Christian was actually going to win.
I get what you're saying. I just genuinely, and I never will, think it about any wrestler. Like, you'll never persuade me any different. But
then you're not thinking realistically.
No, I'm not thinking realistically. I'm thinking in the world of wrestling because I don't care about...
but you're not thinking realistically in the world of wrestling.
Well, I am, because you can. It's been proven that you can build. It was believable at one point that Santino Marella was going to win the Royal Rumble. No one actually thought that he was, though, but it was believable, and no one can deny that.
Well, no, because you've just contradicted yourself, because you said no one thought he was going to, but it was believable.
No, but they made it believable for a second. People didn't think still counts.
People didn't think they would. They thought it was a nice thing, and it was like they were like, no, they're not going to. And
people would have been happy if you won, though.
People would have thought it was funny.
No,
but
people
after
would
10
have been
minutes,
happy. People would have been happy.
I disagree completely.
Obviously, with that one, we never know because it's hypothetical. I just think
if they put the belt on Santino, it would have been a similar sort of thing. It would have killed the belt. It would have absolutely killed the prestige of that belt. And two, it would have been a Jinder Mahal sort of thing.
I don't think it would have. I think the Jinder Mahal one is too far.
How would you ever justify Santino Marella winning WWE title?
I don't know how I would do it, but I'm saying that I don't think it would be a Jinder Mahal situation, because the difference with Marella is everybody liked him
because he was a comedy act, not because he was positioned.
But you can have a comedy act who can be a champion.
Yeah, but not. He wasn't in that position. He wasn't ever framed as someone that could.
No, of course.
It just never made sense. It's got to make sense. That's the thing. That's why people hate WWE, because a lot of shit they're doing just doesn't make sense.
So here's my final question for the day then, and it's kind of connected. But why is it this thing of just because they never have been before, now they're never allowed to be? Why can a switch just not be flipped
once again,
and away change what that person is?
Once again, it depends on the person. Santino Marella.
Does it really though? Yeah,
absolutely. Are you going to put a child in the ring and expect him to beat Kenny Omega for the AEW title?
No, but I'm.
So then it makes it. It depends on the person. You can't put anybody in a ring with anybody and expect that they're going to get over immediately.
No, but you wouldn't do it automatically like that, right? You would.
But that's what you're
build
saying.
Something around.
That's literally what you just said. You put someone in a win, they win, and no one believes it. That's literally what you just asked me.
No. But what I mean by flipping that switch is, can you not use a build to make someone something completely different straight away?
But that's a different question again. Because if you're using a build, it's not changing them straight away because you're building to that.
Yeah. So that goes back to my point is, if you're building to something, does it not make conceivably anything possible with any person if you build in the right way?
No. It has to be the right person or it's just not believable. Let's think of one. I mean, again, they tried to do it with Jinder Mahal. They tried to make Jinder Mahal believable as a top star. Did it work?
But they didn't build that, right?
They
That
tried
was a
to.
shock that came out of
No,
nowhere.
but they tried to.
But they built it after. That was the problem.
Sure, but they tried to build it. They tried to make him feel
Yeah,
like a
but
star, and it just didn't
you can
work.
never build it after. That would be what I would say. You always have to build it before you do it.
But it's depending on the person as well. How many world title ones have we seen where it seems like someone should fit and it just doesn't work
Yeah, that's true.
because they don't fit?
That's true.
Dolph Ziggler.
I mean, Dolph Ziggler worked, to be fair. He just got injured.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Now, you put him in a title picture, it's just unbelievable.
No, but again, Dolph Ziggler is the same case where if you built a storyline that made sense, though, it would be believable because he's been there before.
Again, it depends on the person.
Yeah.
They've done it time and time again, and no one has ever thought that Dolph Ziggler was going to win, either if it was Dean Ambrose, Kofi Kingston. It doesn't matter who he's gone against. No one thought he was going to win.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's not like you get odd situations or you get one-offs where it's like David versus Goliath, where you get like, is someone actually going to beat Walter, for instance, or something like that.
Yeah.
But you can't just do that with anybody. It just doesn't work. You have to balance out believability. Otherwise, you're writing a fucking cartoon.
But so let's go back to some classic WWE for a minute.
Sure.
Why did it work with Rey Mysterio then? Because
he was built as a giant killer. And can I also point out his title run was terrible?
No, I get it, but it was still believable and people were happy with it.
Because they built it well.
Yeah.
And he was believable as someone that could actually take down whoever. Who did he beat for the title?
I think initially he beat Kurt Angle, right? Kurt Angle and Randy Orton in the triple threat.
Triple threat, which is another thing. A triple threat.
It adds a different dynamic, right?
Yeah, because you can steal a win or something like that.
Yeah.
But he was built in such a way, and his aura around him, he was built and he felt like a star.
Yeah.
He felt like someone that should.
No, I get all that. I get all that.
You can't do that with anybody. And I guess and Rey Mysterio is a perfect example because how many times since then have they tried the exact same thing and it just hasn't worked?
That's true.
They've tried to find their Rey Mysterio 20 odd times.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is dumb because Ricochet is right there.
That's true. No,
and it just doesn't. I mean,
don't get me wrong.
Have to be
don't get me wrong. I agree with what you're saying. It's just that from my perspective, build plays into it more than maybe you're giving it credit for. I think that there are times where I sort of agree. I do think there are times where build can supersede what the person is capable of, though.
That's not a good thing.
No, and it does mean that something wouldn't last long, but they can still make it believable.
But that's not. But that again, that's where the believability comes in. Is the right person with the right storyline at the right time.
For sure.
You're not going to put if you put me in the ring with someone and you built that I was going to murder them.
Yeah.
No one's going to believe that.
So
it has to be the right person.
So here's my final question on it then.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think when it's a brand new person, no matter how they look, it works?
Like when?
Like what
Brock
I mean
Lesnar
is
doesn't count because look at Brock Lesnar.
No, but this is no. But my point is, why is it? Is it with new people just different because we haven't seen them before?
I'm not like when. When is
that
done?
So, for example, you look at somebody like, and I'm not saying necessarily the killer thing, right? But I'm saying
no.
100%, I'm saying you can make people what you want. So you look at something like, what would be the example I could give? You look at something like, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head right now. Something like, what's his fucking name? Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't know. Describe him.
Oh, Jesus. So you look at something like Bray Wyatt, right?
He didn't come out of nowhere.
No, but my point is, Bray Wyatt was Husky Harris. Whatever happened.
No. But he did the character work and put in the time, and they made him. Was the character. But do you not think he was immediately believable? Because they repackaged him as no. He's believable as the character he was. Yeah. It took him time to become believable as someone that could win a world title.
Yeah. That's true. That's
He
true.
didn't immediately come in and was like, oh, he's winning the world title. He's believable.
So why with Brock Lesnar did that work then? You brought up Lesnar earlier.
Because Brock Lesnar is a 1 in a million.
Yeah.
There is no one else like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. And also it was a different time in wrestling, right?
I think you could do Brock Lesnar now.
Really?
Brock Lesnar is unique.
Yeah.
There is no, he is like, he gets a lot of shit, but he is genuinely one of the best wrestlers ever.
Yeah.
Every single aspect.
I've said before to people, go back and look at his first run in WWE. He was genuinely great.
He is the best big man in wrestling history.
Yeah, for sure.
Like he is an enigma. There is nothing like Brock Lesnar. But Brock Lesnar was believable because they still built him. He didn't go straight in at that. It took him Royal Rumble.
Yeah, but I mean, it literally took him months, which was different, right?
But that's exactly my point. He was believable as someone that was going to murder everybody. He then murdered everybody. He then won the world title.
Yeah.
It made sense because he was the right person for that. If you tried to do that same thing with Mark Jindrak, which they tried to do, for instance, just wasn't believable because he didn't have the character behind him.
True.
But again, Brock Lesnar is a 1 in a billion.
Yeah.
He is so unique to be that athletic. Like, imagine at that Mania if he nailed that shooting star.
So
imagine how great that would have been. But it just has to be. It can't. You can use build to get over like an underdog, something like that. But that's not what they did with Christian.
No,
and they probably should have because he was an underdog.
It's not what they did, and that kind of plays into my point. Is I agree with you that based on what they did, he was never a believable winner. Yep. I guess the part where I disagree is I don't believe that it's impossible to have a situation where he would have been a believable winner, or at least a chance of winning.
I think a chance is different, but I don't think there was any build where anybody actually predicted he was going to win.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think there's any way to build it that way, just because of all of the other circumstances around it. You know, his age, what he's been through, what he's done. He never reached that kind of level that
on
Kenny
a consistent
Omega
basis, right?
Has stayed at for the last 5 years. Like Kenny Omega is probably still the best wrestler in the world.
For sure.
And it's not like a Kofi Kingston moment sort of thing. But
anyway, let us know, people. What was your favorite match from All Out? Because there were some good ones in here.
Come on.
I mean, there should be one answer. But we'll allow you whatever match you choose. Who do you also, what I'd like to know, actually, I think this is a really good question because I personally think it only goes one way. But what do you think is next for Bryan Danielson? Because, you know, big star.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he gets the title shot straight away.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know, people. What do you think?
I feel like there might be a blood and guts match.
Maybe because they kind of built a little Jurassic team Express. Thing there, right?
Yeah. Whether Christian is that guy as well, I don't know
for sure. But yeah, let us know. Please subscribe to the channel for more of this content. We will be covering NXT and AEW weekly, and if you don't know, we'll now be doing that in one video a week instead of 2. But yeah, we'll be here every week. We'll be here for Full Gear in November, I'm sure.
For sure.
When that comes around.
At the very least, we will keep on AEW.
Yes.
Because we need to see what happens with
I feel like AEW's got to this point where even Luke isn't going to give up that easily.
Well, no, because it's good. If NXT, like I've said it to you before, if this all goes crap and it's not fun to watch, I'm done. I'm not watching it. I don't have the time to watch stuff I don't enjoy. For sure. Which is a shame because I love pro wrestling. And I've genuinely never been this excited. I could not wait. Like I was chomping at the bit for my brother to come and we could just watch it and get it done with. So I was like, I needed to know what happened.
The times in wrestling are changing.
It's exciting again.
It's I haven't been this excited since I was probably 10 years old.
like you said, I think it's also exciting as well because what are WWE going to do? Because they have to do something, right?
Yeah, I mean,
or are they that ignorant?
If they really are be surprised that they're dumb.
I mean, I don't question that they are dumb. Bruce Pritchard is running Raw and SmackDown.
I mean, anyway, let's move on here because this has been a
That's
long one, but this deserved to be a long
it.
one.
Absolutely did because it's such a monumental,
And there was so
such a
much to
monumental
talk
show.
about. Me and Luke obviously had a debate, which we love doing.
We love debating. It's what we do. We love debating. It's a great
I'm sure
practice.
there'll be many more wrestling debates
Hell yeah.
over the weeks to come, and
I look forward to them.
I'm sure Luke will pop out an extra video here or there.
Yeah, I'm gonna try, and like I said, I've got one in the works, but I have a couple that I want to do. I really want to fix that fucking casino battle royal.
Yeah,
and it's really easy. Make it a roulette battle royal.
for sure. And hopefully Tony Khan gets his magic beans out again soon.
Well, that sounds like a euphemism.
And with that, we will see you next time. Goodbye.